Hey, very good afternoon to you. Welcome on in. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia is on. Thanks for listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the Fan Rochester, and the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Also on YouTube and Twitch, streaming live every afternoon from 3 until 6. Our channel, The Fan Rochester. Like and subscribe while you're there. I am Danger, and that's Battaglia.
If you are a true Cubs fan, then you wouldn't watch another game this year. You would find another commitment because that's the only way this team is going to move on.
Right, karma.
Yeah.
My good karma as a parent, as a dad, went out into the universe last night. You know, I was able to watch the beginning of the Cubs game here in the studio yesterday.
Yeah, good start, 4-1, I think it was when we got off the air.
Yeah, and then I had to go to a function at my daughter's school. Hey, look, I want to be a good dad. I want to be there for my kid. It was junior parents' college night. So we got to learn about the process of getting my little one into college.
Oh, FAFSA.
Yeah.
Going to be
FAFSA, sure.
bane of your existence, but go on.
So we're in the auditorium at Mercy, and in the auditorium at Mercy, no reception. I couldn't even check. No idea what the score was.
That should be welcome, right? You're in school. Like, no,
Right.
we're going to kind of make sure there's no
Right.
signal in here.
Caught me off guard a little bit.
Wow.
But I did get a text from my Cub fan friends basically just saying, whew, so the Cubs survive. They live to see another day. Although it feels kind of hollow. It almost feels like the Yankees surviving the other night. It's like, okay, you got one. Can you really close out the deal? And shame on us. I mean, like we thought, bullpen game. The Yankees, they got an opportunity to stretch this to game 5. Man, bullpen game for the Jays means the Yankees' bats are going cold. The Yankees are going to make some mistakes, and the Yankee season comes to an end.
Yeah, and the Jays came up big, and it's our guy. Can we can't say we're not late to the train. We had Ernie Clement, thanks to our guy Tim Schneider, who is friends with Ernie. He came on our show when you were down in Florida right before spring training.
Okay.
Really good guy, all right? And like we've talked to a lot of people who know Ernie. Like he's the pride of Rochester right now. Like as far as Rochester pro athletes that have shown up big in the postseason, probably number 1 on the list. It's got to, well, besides Amby Wambach, but I'm talking about pro athletes. Got to be Brian Giunta, right? Stanley Cup champ.
Roland Williams had that crown for a while.
Roland Williams, Super Bowl champ.
Yep. If you add World Series champ to the Rochester sports resume, Rochester athlete resume, I think Ernie Clement would be in the upper echelon of Rochester professional athletes.
Rochester getting a couple shout-outs last night. And we're like,
This is all we care about.
That's all I care
This is
about.
all we
John
care.
Smoltz.
John Smoltz recognizes us. Oh. And we're head over heels. He's been unbelievable this postseason. Unbelievable. And a big reason why the Jays are advancing to the ALCS.
Gosh, and then without Bichette, too. But Vladdy's Vladdy. They have a lot. I'm happy that Aaron Judge did not make the final out last night. I'm like, no, I don't want to see him strike out. At least he gets a double. And in the story for the Yankees kind of sort of remains the same. Like it's a team that doesn't feel like a team, doesn't have that kind of glue part. To me last night, I don't know how Yankee fans deal with Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm, okay, yeah, he'll get you a home run every once in a while. They were making excuses for him on the non-turn double play last
little
night.
Maddening. Fielding error there, not being able to turn the double play. He was asleep at the wheel in the infield in Game 3 as well. But he atoned for that sin by hitting a clutch home run.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was asleep at the wheel because he was seen yawning, which that didn't go over well. Like, wow, it's a great game.
Yeah, well, it is baseball. I mean, can you really blame the guy? But the idea that the Yankees fall short of their ultimate goal, and I'm sure there's plenty of conversation of what did Aaron Boone's coming back, right? They're not moving off of that guy.
Aaron Boone is Jason Garrett or Mike McCarthy. Like, really something has to happen. Brian Cashman's still there.
Right.
Brian Cashman.
Right. So does anything change for the Yankees? Hey, you get Garrett Cole back next year.
You know what? This comes into focus. Win the damn division.
Sure.
That actually kind of does matter. Now, maybe Detroit will say, no, it doesn't matter. We were terrible, and we got in, and here we are. That Game 5 will be coming up tomorrow night. We're going to have a Game 4 tonight, a couple Game 4s. But for the Jays, if you don't have one of your local teams in here, I think it's okay to root for Ernie Clement and root for those guys.
I'm rooting for him. Absolutely. Got to root for the Jays. Sorry, Yankee fans, but yes, you got to root for Ernie Clement. If you're from Rochester, you can't not root for that guy, especially when he's performing at the level he's performing. This is like he's performing at an unreal clip right now. So the Jays get the win, close out the series, move on to the ALCS, and await the winner of the Tigers-Mariners series, which will conclude with a decisive Game 5 tomorrow night in Seattle. And you mentioned it, a couple of Game 4s tonight with the Cubs and the Brewers from Wrigley, and the Dodgers hosting the Phillies, who extended their series by winning late last night in L.A. We've got an unbelievable show lined up for you this afternoon here in the Sports Bar. At 4:25, Andy Behrens from The Deep Shot. He's going to help sort through your Week 6 fantasy dilemmas. A.J. Brown tonight for the Eagles. The Giants, Week 6 gets underway on Prime. Joe Flacco and the effect that he might have on the Bengals offense and their weapons. What are you doing with the New England Patriots backfield? Andy Behrens will have answers for us. Andy Behrens from The Deep Shot at 4:25 this afternoon in the Sports Bar.
What do you do with Rico Dowdle? Maybe you picked him up, but you didn't play him. Are like those numbers he put up kind of hard to ignore, right? Carolina running back? I don't know. That's one of the questions. Like, is Miami's defense really that bad? So a lot of questions for Andy. And by the way, if you ever have a question, just hit us up on X or Facebook. We're easy to find.
At the Fan Rochester. At 3:25, we go to Atlanta. Our Odyssey Sports sister station, 92.9 The Games. Mike Johnson joins us to preview Bills Falcons coming up here on Monday night. Buffalo at 4-1, but a defense we've talked a lot about, lots of question marks, and now they've got to deal with Bijan Robinson. Are the Bills built to stop one of the league's most explosive backs, or are we about to see the Bills' defense exposed in prime time on Monday Night Football? We check in with Mike Johnson in less than 20 minutes.
I wonder how they're viewing this game in Atlanta. I just wonder about Atlanta in general. Like here, most cities, the NFL is king. I don't get that sense in Atlanta. I just wonder, where are they in the pecking order? Is this going to be, because you always, what's the cliche? Beware of the home underdog on Monday Night Football. Well, the Falcons would fall into that category, but are we really worried about this environment the Bills are going to be walking into? Maybe. I don't know. So Mike Johnson, looking forward to talking about this team I don't know enough about. And if you're a Bills fan, I'm guessing you don't know enough about them either. So we'll figure out a little bit about the Falcons coming up at the bottom of the hour.
You can join us this afternoon on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. That number is 866-4FAN, 866-4326, and the 585 award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub at 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. Oh, by the way, tonight the Sabres start their 2025-2026 campaign. We'll have that action for you on the Fan Rochester.
I feel like we're not living up to the, they have these promotional messages for our show, which I'm grateful that management puts those in. Like, hey, listen to Danger and Battaglia. Bills and Sabres talk that goes deeper. I think the Bills stuff goes deeper. The Sabres stuff, do I really want to bum you out here?
Yeah.
Do I?
Well, okay. Let's just check the box and talk about tonight's starting goaltender, Alex Lyon, who's getting the start game 1 for the Sabres this season.
Definitely business as usual, but it does excite me. It gets me excited, and it's just, you just got to grind. And I mean, the routine stays the same for the most part, and the mentality stays the same. But yeah, it's just, you want to play well and play well for the team. So it's just trying to stay in the moment right now.
And that concludes our Buffalo Sabres coverage.
Listen tonight here on the Fan Rochester. Dun, 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 dun. Ben McDonald, what will you be doing?
I can tell you what I won't be doing. I'm not doing anything having to do with hockey. I can tell you that. That's one thing I can tell you for sure.
And the Blackhawks return to the ice Tuesday, NHL opening night against the defending champion Florida Panthers at 5 Eastern, 4 Central on ESPN. Triple header that night. Penguins, Rangers, Avalanche, Kings. Ben, I know you got an opinion on this. Panthers three-peat this year. What do you think?
If you say so. I mean, good luck to them. Are you asking me if I'm going to be watching?
No, I know you'll be watching, of course, because you work for ESPN. You'll be watching Friday night.
There is zero chance I'll be watching. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Where
Wow.
will you be?
I will be somewhere, but there's zero chance I'll be watching.
All right, thanks, Ben. We'll be watching. Thanks for the rating.
Threw him not one but two lifelines there to try and redeem himself. He wanted nothing to do with it. That guy hates hockey.
There's some people that hate hockey.
And just not a good employee either, by
No.
the way. Real bad employee. Like, come on, man. You know what your job is. So we've checked our box as well. Not to go as far as Ben McDonald. The Sabres are on tonight, but listen anyways.
Listen, you got Giants, Eagles. You've got baseball. You know, certainly the Dodgers don't want to be farting around with the Phillies much longer. If you're the Phillies, like, well, maybe if we can win this one. And then if you can get a Game 5 in Philadelphia, danger.
Uh-huh. Philly will be a jungle.
Honestly, I like the Phillies' chances better than your Cubs' chances, even though the Cubs are the team that's home tonight.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I don't like the Cubs' chances. I'm not confident that just because the Cubs got one yesterday that they're going to somehow miraculously turn that into a series win against the Brewers. I think the Brewers are just a better team. They've been a better team all season. But unfortunately, I don't have any good karma to put out. I'm going to go out tonight, eat an expensive meal, drink some cocktails, and I think all that bad karma might end the season for the Cubs. So the Bills got back to practice today. One day later than usual. It's an unusual week because they play on Monday night, so their first day of practice this week coming today, and we learned and heard from Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott on something that we've been discussing frequently this week, and that is Keon Coleman, Sean McDermott on his second-year wide receiver.
You know, our time right now at this point in terms of the response is small because, players they've been here, but not for yesterday was a shorter day. So we'll see how practice goes today. He looked like he was, on his details this morning in terms of when I saw him and when I was around him. So, we'll just continue to, he's going to continue to grow and we're going to continue to do things the right way. And that's how things work. That's how you win, is when you do things the right way leading into games or whatever it is. You've got to have the good run up to the situation and the opportunity.
I'm led to believe that this is not the first. We know it's not the first time, but if you're Sean McDermott and the question came your way, why wasn't Coleman out there? All you had to say was coach's decision, and this isn't a story today. But yet Keon Coleman is asked about it. McDermott is asked about it. Nobody seems to know. We're just kind of left to assume what? He was late to a meeting? What was it? What team rule did he actually violate? And to me, Danger, I know you want to just set a standard and you want to you didn't need to mention the suspension. You just could have said coach's decision and it would have fallen under that, and it's not an issue.
What about the injury report for the Buffalo Bills? Who's on the field? Who's getting healthy? Who's not practicing in advance of Monday night's game against Atlanta?
So Matt Milano and TJ Sanders will not practice today. Deion Dawkins, Dorian Williams, Ed Oliver, Curtis. Curtis will be full, but those other three will be limited, and we'll continue to take it one day at a time like we have. And then the IR guys the windows are not going to open up at this point in time. So I think that should get you everything you need.
What's going on with Deion?
Hand.
Max Hairston was seen working with trainers, not doing drills, but just, testing things out.
Yeah, he's been doing that, and this makes sense to me because you do have the bye coming up. So I think if we get to the Carolina week at the end of the month, like, okay, you're not opening the window yet. You have 3 weeks to decide, okay, you're going to put him in. But even if you do put him on the active roster, he doesn't have to be active on game day. So the Bills still slow playing that for whatever reason. Yeah, Sanders and Oliver, I'm hoping one of the two. You're hoping Oliver is the guy that's back, obviously.
Yeah, I think, what did you say just there? That Sanders did not practice, but Oliver was limited.
Limited, right. And so Milano, we already kind of sort of knew about, but the good news is that Dorian Williams practicing limited today, too, which you're going to need Dorian Williams with Matt Milano presumably out here.
You mean Balin Spector is going to call up for the practice squad?
Well,
you're not going to see Jimmy Charlo out there? No Jimmy Charlo?
Hey, West Point.
Of course you're going to see Jimmy. Of course Jimmy Charlo.
See everybody. That's the play. West Point.
Charlo's getting a jersey on Monday night. Yeah. West Point gets a jersey on Monday night. So, you had McDermott speaking to the media. You had Josh Allen speaking to the media today after practice, and the Bills are at it and getting ready for Monday night. We'll have the game for you Monday. No show Monday. We're full-blown Buffalo sports Monday afternoon. It's Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day. You've got the Sabres starting at noon. You've got pregame for the Bills and Falcons with an early kickoff at 7. Pregame starting here on the Fan at 3.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting Monday because you got the Sabres playing, then we go right into the Buffalo Bills pregame, which means no sports bar on Monday, but we'll be back here on Tuesday. Time for your calls at 866-4FN, 866-4326. We'll be talking to Mike Johnson from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta coming up here in a little bit.
We have a couple other news and notes to get to here from around the NFL, just injuries around the league, and maybe you're setting a lineup for fantasy football, just keeping tabs on injury reports. Both Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson still out of practice for their teams, the Cardinals and the Ravens, respectively. So you can kind of see what direction that is going with the Cardinals heading to Indianapolis. And then, Gino, I wanted to get your take on this. The NCAA, the committee in the NCAA has proposed allowing ads on uniforms. Now, you're wearing the suit today, so that means you're asking somebody for money today. I know in your gig, it's
a day that yes, I'm here
you're
to represent
sharp.
our station. And
where do you come down on college athletes, college football players, and college teams allowing ads on uniforms as a new revenue stream, something that we could see as soon as 2026?
So the whole thing is full of hypocrisy. The NCAA and college sports. I mean, what is the difference between putting a Dr. Pepper ad on your shoulder as opposed to putting it on the 50-yard line, as all these schools do? You would think if you're really about education and you don't want any conflict of interest, blah, 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 like at this point, everything is out the window. You're pro sports. Call for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly.
Okay, so along that lines, my next question would be, why hasn't the NFL adopted this, talked about it? When will we see the NFL? I'm not saying, look, we can say all you want, but I'm telling you, when it happens, and I don't say it's if, I think when it happens, we'll be outraged and we'll just deal with it. We'll live with it the way we've done with every other sport.
Well, I think that would separate you from every other sport, would it not? Like we're used to the baseball on the sleeve, the basketball on the shoulder, hockey on the helmet, baseball on the helmet too.
It's coming.
Yeah, I'm going to say the NFL holds as long. They're still holding out. What'll happen by now? You have you have a janitorial company, like you'll do it for the Bills, like when they're in the practice stuff. Not mentioning that company, but the practice jerseys already have it in the NFL.
Okay,
just not going to carry it over. The product is the NFL danger. I think the NFL has a right in that regard. No one is asking for that.
I think they've gone as far as to sell the logo on the side of the coaches' headsets, right? Like there's plenty of partnerships around the NFL that are bringing in a lot of revenue for the league. But in a world now where you see pretty much every professional sports league channeling that revenue stream, putting ads, NASCARing their uniforms up, it's surprising to me that the NFL hasn't done it yet. I know they don't need more money, like they're doing just fine, but it feels like that would be an easy way to generate more revenue if they wanted it.
Well, I guess, and again, I'm going to be way in over my head, but when it comes to the top levels of soccer in Europe, that's a common thing, right?
Sure.
Like right on the,
right.
Yeah.
Don't look at European hockey leagues.
No, that to me is the worst. They're looking at, like, I remember seeing, here's Rasmus Dahlin in Sweden. I'm like, what am I looking at? He's skating on ads.
Yeah. What does he play for? What is this? What is this foreign concept? Ads everywhere, on the ice, on the boards, everywhere. Covered. Jerseys covered in ads. But what they need to do to survive. In the case of the NFL, they're going to be fine. It's just surprising to me. So we could see ads on uniforms in college football as soon as next year, and then I wonder if the NFL isn't too far behind. But we'll see. We'll see. You got Week 6 tonight between the Giants and the Eagles. This is a significant number for the sports bar. The Giants, if they lose tonight, will maintain the longest losing streak against division opponents in the NFL at
9 times.
Then take Philadelphia to the bank here.
I mean, does Section 5 Sirianni listen to the sports bar?
He is Section 5 Sirianni. If you wonder why we taught him that, like he sounded like every high school cliche when he did his introductory press
He
conference.
sounded like a high school coach.
Yeah.
We talk to high school coaches all the time. Nick Sirianni sounded like a high school coach when he first got hired by the Eagles. Hey, he's won a Super Bowl now. We can't really make fun of him.
Perfect preparation equals talent takeover.
I don't know what that means.
Less thinking equals talent takeover. Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
You got to water your lawn, and when you water your lawn, roots grow, and you get roots, and then the roots get stronger, and then you keep maintaining your lawn, and you water. That was the one that I was like, what is going on? What is he talking about? But yeah, can't call him Section 5 Sirianni anymore. He's won a championship.
It's funny, like he's won a championship, but who gets the credit there in Philadelphia? Who do they love in Philadelphia? It's not Sirianni.
No.
It's Roseman. Roseman's the guy who put it all together.
I
Like
thought you were going to say it was Big Dom.
Oh, well. I'm sorry.
Hey. I'm the guy that won the championship. Forget about it.
We got to get to Mike Johnson there.
Mike Johnson, the morning shift on 92.9 The Game, our Odyssey Sports sister station in Atlanta, joins us next. And we'll learn about these Atlanta Falcons and which team we might be seeing Monday against the Bills on Monday Night Football. Mike Johnson next on The Fan.
It's opening night for the Buffalo Sabres. The New York Rangers, the opponent. Our coverage here on The Fan will begin at 7 o'clock. To the Buffalo Bills, back at work today with a Monday night game coming up. Matt Milano and TJ Sanders did not practice. Ed Oliver and Dorian Williams today were limited. Head coach Sean McDermott on Falcons running back Bijan Robinson.
Very explosive, really good football player, and really hard to stop at the same time. So he looks like he's got a real bright future. He can do it in the run game, the pass game. He plays all downs, which is somewhat rare anymore, and we have a ton of respect for his game.
We'll learn a little bit more about the Falcons next. Mike Johnson from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta will be joining us here in the Sports Bar. 6 o'clock tonight for Phillies Dodgers, 9 o'clock for Brewers Cubs. LA and Milwaukee can advance with wins. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
All right, let's go to Atlanta, the site of Monday Night Football, with the Bills traveling to take on the Falcons, and we check in with our Odyssey Sports sister station, 92.9 The Game from the morning shift. Mike Johnson, good with his time and joining us. Mike, we've been spending time this week wondering who the Atlanta Falcons are. Are they the team that won 2 impressive games against the Vikings and Commanders, or are they the team that got the doors blown off of them by the hapless Carolina Panthers? It's got to be maddening talking about a team that's got this heckle and jive
yes,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the cliche.
Split personality is what Danger's trying to say. Mike, thanks for your time.
Jekyll and Hyde is what I meant to say. Yes. Mike.
Yeah, you got there. It's all good. No, man. I think it's an interesting question, and we've been wondering the same thing down here in Atlanta. We don't know what we're watching either. It's been like you said, it's been maddening to watch. We think we're putting together something, and then somebody like the 0-2 Carolina Panthers jumps up and grab you, and you get absolutely the doors blown off of you. So there's been great, and then there's been awful, and there has been all in between this year, and that leads you to a 2-2 record coming off a bye week.
Well, we know there are some really nice players on that Atlanta offense. You just heard McDermott talking about Robinson. Tell us more about Penix. I mean, I feel like we as college football fans very familiar with Michael Penix. I mean, like leading Indiana, and then we saw him in Washington, and now the surprise draft pick by the Falcons. Where is he at right now, Mike, would you say, in terms of his development?
Well, it's been a really unique situation to kind of follow, because a lot of questions were obviously asked when Raheem, was signed as the head coach here and Kirk Cousins is brought in. You think you're developing a game plan as far as that goes. And everybody was kind of wondering, hey, what pass rusher are you going to go draft? And then you bring home a guy like Michael Penix, and all of a sudden everything is thrown off. But all the conversations we've had with people inside the organization and around the organization have been about how great Michael Penix looked in the lead up to the draft, and a whole contingency of Falcons coaches and scouts and staff members going out to Washington to work him out, along with guys like Rome Odunze and other guys like that. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, he kind of burst on the scene the last 3 games last year and kind of made a name for himself. But it's been frustrating at times. And, guys, what you need to know about Michael Penix is he was a rookie last year, but his offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, was also a rookie. 6 years ago, Zach Robinson's working for Pro Football Focus, and then he breaks in with Sean McVay. He was kind of learning on the job a year ago. They still kind of lean on the Arthur Smith run game from a few years ago, and it's just kind of been multiple parts coming together and kind of learning on the job. So Penix has had a lot of upside. He's been really, really accurate on the deep balls, which has been nice to see, but there's times, footwork-wise and, play action, things like that, where he just gets – it's just maddening to watch his footwork and inaccuracies when it gets bad.
Mike, staying with quarterback and seeing in a week where Joe Flacco gets dealt for a 5th-round pick from Cleveland to Cincinnati, is Kirk Cousins on this team at the trade deadline? Why hasn't he been moved, or the Falcons asking or looking for too much in return in terms of a trade? Because it seems like unless there's absolutely no game left to Cousins, which you would know better than we would.
Well, I think there's game there. And look, I watched him all throughout training camp. We were obviously, our station down here live out at training camp and watched him all the way through. I think he looks great. But I think there's a couple of different things kind of at play here, guys. First and foremost, Kirk Cousins' wife is from here. She's from literally from Atlanta. They got married in Atlanta. They have bought a house in Atlanta. They've kind of set up shop for the retirement phase. And he's got a no-trade clause. And that's the biggest thing. You can't just deal him for a 5th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick. he's got a no-trade clause. I also think the other thing is this. The reason you signed him and drafted Michael Penix is because you didn't want to be without a quarterback. And when you got into preseason, you had guys like Ben DiNucci and other kind of names that have been around this organization. 2 years ago in the NFL, and you guys know this, there were 65 starting quarterbacks. Last year, I think it was 58 starting quarterbacks. If something does happen to Michael Penix, you always want to have that kind of rebound there in your back pocket. You don't want to just trade that away, having paid, $45 million this year for him, and then just trade him away for a fifth-round pick or a fourth-round pick. So I think they like the security that comes along with it, and look, like I said, he's got a no-trade clause. So even if they wanted to deal him to Cincinnati, he takes one look at that Cincinnati offensive line and says, you know what? I think I like hanging out with my kids.
Do we have any idea where Cousins' game is at here in 2025? When we saw him last year, it wasn't good. I mean, to the point where we're like, okay, that's enough. But, Mike, from where I sit, I'm going to cut the guy some slack. He's coming off an Achilles. It's not real easy. We saw Aaron Rodgers not look real good. With other athletes, it takes time. So with that being said, if he's called upon here at some point, are we going to see the Cousins of old, do you think?
I actually think he looked really good in training camp, and we kind of had a joke going. It was either checkdowns or touchdowns during training camp. I mean, he's either throwing to Bijan out of the backfield or he's launching one deep to Drake London. But I think the accuracy is back with him. And to be honest with you guys, and there's a lot of questions down here today about Zach Robinson, and I keep going back to him because he was asked today about the Oklahoma State job, which has got all of our heads swirling about what Zach Robinson is. But when Michael Penix really struggled there in week 2 or 3, and you throw out the stinker against Carolina, I had a lot more questions coming off that about Zach Robinson than I did Michael Penix or Kirk Cousins. I was like, it's one thing for Kirk Cousins to throw some stinkers out there, and we can kind of point at the quarterback. But if Michael Penix starts stringing together some bad games, then I think you got to look at coaching. And I still think there is something left in the tank for Kirk Cousins. He's obviously a smart guy. I know they love having him in that quarterback room. And, if he is called upon, I don't know that, you're going to make a playoff run with him, but I think he would be more than serviceable if needed.
He's Mike Johnson. You can hear him on the morning shift, 92.9 The Game, and the free-to-download Odyssey app, joining us to preview Falcons-Bills coming up here on Monday night. Now let's talk about some of the players we know we're going to see on the field. And, Mike, our eyes just saw Bills wide receiving core that really struggled with separation against, albeit a good New England set of corners. How are they going to match up against this Falcons defense? Talk a little bit about the Falcons defense under Jeff Ulbrich, who we have some familiar with, being that he was with the Jets just last season.
Well, I think this is, first and foremost, this has been a much improved unit. One of the biggest things going into the draft obviously was pass rush, but this unit last year was absolutely terrible against the run. Grady Jarrett leaves in free agency. He gets cut. He goes to Chicago. Another defensive tackle, Eddie Goldman, ends up in Washington. And then you didn't draft anybody on the interior defensive line. And we all kind of wondered to ourselves, hey, how is this line going to fare against, the run offenses this year? Played some pretty good running backs, and obviously James Cook is in that, that category as well. But they've been good, and that's really led to an improved back end as well. We're kind of dealing with a situation with A.J. Terrell here, much in the same way you guys are kind of dealing with the Ed Oliver. It's kind of we're on pins and needles seeing if, he can be that guy and come back this week. But when A.J. Terrell is in the lineup, this is a really, really good defense, and they've all stepped up to the plate. It's an interesting defense to watch, guys, because they don't play like a normal style defense. They try to create chaos up front. There's a lot of side-to-side movement. There's a lot of twist stunts in the run game and in the passing game. All these defensive linemen can play all these different positions. You'll see like a 5-1 front with Divine Diablo playing the middle linebacker spot. So they do it differently than a lot of defenses out there, but they all seem to know their job, and they all fly around with their hair on fire. And that really has been good for them to start the year.
Well, give us your best guess. And you played for the Falcons, so you certainly you know the game better than we would. What do you do against Josh Allen and James Cook? Like, what is the talk right now in Atlanta? You saw a nice game plan from New England, but ultimately it was the Bills turning the ball over 3 times that I thought was the main difference there. So, again, the question here is, how would you go about this specifically for Allen and going against Cook here?
Yeah, I think it's a question that there's been defensive coordinators that can't solve, right? I think it's got to be maddening. even when you have him hemmed up and even when the receivers are blanketed, right, he stiff arms somebody, rolls out of a tackle, and is able to get down, downhill on you. So it's got to be frustrating. We actually barely missed Jaden Daniels a couple of weeks ago. In the build-up to the season, it was like, God, you're going to face two quarterbacks back-to-back, and Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen that do the same things but do them differently. I don't know. I was talking today, and we were talking this morning. I don't even know if I'd rush Josh Allen. Like, I know that he can beat you from the pocket, but I think he's much more dangerous when he's flushed and when he's rushing up down the field. And, like I said, we don't have big run defenders. We have a lot of guys that create chaos up front and use speed and kind of go side to side. So I would just simply, rush as few as possible if you can find him in a third and long situation. But I don't know that you can get him in third and long because they're so good at running the football with James Cook and everything he does on those early downs. So throw different looks at him, create stunts up front. I personally would probably attack, the right guard position for the Bills, Osiris Torrance. We are very familiar with him, scouted him going into the draft, the same draft we drafted our left guard Matthew Bergeron in. And I would run twist stunts up front and see if you can kind of get in his face, but I'd be very careful to rush past the launch point and, allow him to do those things with his legs. But when you do get him, you got to bring him down, and you got to make sure you're hugged up on the receivers and making tackles in space. And like you said, try to create some of those turnovers and hope things bounce your way.
Mike, it's something we've talked about all week when discussing the Falcons. If anything, you've got weapons. There are some immense talent on the offensive side of the ball. We talked about Penix. We talked about Robinson. We'll talk about Drake London. But the guy I wanted to ask you about, in fantasy football communities, he's become a meme. Yet through 4 games, it looks like there's a little bit of a resurgence going on for Kyle Pitts. Talk about his path here with the Falcons and how he's gotten a little bit more involved in their offense.
Yeah, I to be honest with you guys, he's been maddening to watch over the last couple of years. And I obviously, like you said, I played football. I turned on the All-22. I watched the film. There are some days last year where he just looked absolutely checked out. And I think what people kind of nationally have to realize is this is a guy who did get his 5th-year option picked up, but he is in a contract year. He's making good money, $10, $11, $12 million, whatever it is this year. But this is his last year under contract with the Falcons. I feel like he's playing like that. He is playing like he gets excited about blocks, and they are learning when and where to utilize him and not asking him to block on the edge on a 4th and 1 play like they have in the past. He's a unicorn of a player because he's a big body, and he also, ran a 4.4 at the combine. But if you can't find mismatches, if he's not physical enough to go against a corner, then you're not really utilizing him in any way. So I think he's really stepped up as far as his physicality. He's taken pride in his blocking this year. I think it's something that can continue because, Michael Penix shows the mobility to kind of get out in the flats and hit Kyle Pitts with the ball as well. So it's been fun. I think his attitude is just in the right place. And, we all know that when he really turns it on, he's the highest drafted tight end in history. He can certainly get things done with his physical tools.
Mike, the local question here, because the state of Georgia, no doubt, produces how many NFL players? Up here, not so much. We got one on your team. I was like, hey, made the team. Nathan Carter went to Bishop Kearney here. Tell us, I see he's questionable. Tell us how his season's been going so far.
He's been going good. He was a guy that obviously, was scratching and clawing to make the team throughout training camp, had a couple of big runs in the preseason. I know he's been dinged up with injuries, here and there, but really this is a two-headed monster out of the backfield when it comes to Bijan and Tyler Algier. And Nathan Carter has filled in, nicely on special teams throughout the regular season. But he's definitely a guy that's been a joy to be around. We got a chance to be around him a couple times in the preseason and kind of see, his smile and see his glow. And man, he's a home run hitter when he gets going downhill, and we saw that a couple of times when he's able to carry the rock. So, he did get some action there at the end of the Carolina game, and we were down 30-0, so we kind of pull our starters out, and there's the reason he's on this roster. That third running back spot for the Atlanta Falcons has been kind of a revolving door. Cordero Patterson, names like that, but Nathan Carter seems like a guy that should be able to stick around for a while.
And Mike, what about another name that Bills fans that are listening will be familiar with because he was drafted by the Bills and he's contributing now in a role at wide receiver for the Falcons. And Ray McLeod, what's his role been like since joining Atlanta?
I think he's fit in really nicely. He's kind of been a prototypical slot guy. Really stepped up in a lot of huge situations for this team a year ago. He was so clutch in the way he was able to attack the ball and kind of operate in small spaces. to be honest, he hasn't really found his footing yet this year. I think that they've kind of gone away from him. They started the game last week with a quick screen to him, and he dropped it. And it just seems like Michael Penix hasn't trusted him, or they haven't tried to get to him for whatever reason. There's been a couple drops this year, but just going back off what we saw at him last year, he's such a clutch player that I think that as we get through this stretch run with Ray, that they'll continue to lean on him. But he operates good in short spaces, man. He's an interesting cat off the field. Always, he showed up to a game last year wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey. We were like, what is this guy doing? We're the Atlanta Falcons. But he's been a joy to watch, man. He really has, and he's a gritty little guy.
Mike, I'm trying to picture what Monday night is going to be like, and Mike also does the pre and post covering the Atlanta Falcons. This is a place where Buffalo comes once every 8 years. What kind of environment are the Bills going into here coming up on Monday night?
I'm just as curious as you are, to be real with you. We always joke, man, this is an easy city to fly in and out of. Atlanta's airport's the busiest airport in the world. We get a lot of fans, especially when we play teams like Buffalo, from other places. But usually, and I'll go back to last year, we played Kansas City on a Thursday night game. Usually when it's early in the season and the Falcons haven't fallen off, you get a really good home crowd. I'll be really curious to see what they walk into. I think it's going to be a raucous environment either way. I think that we'll probably have plenty of the Bills Mafia down here, and Mercedes-Benz is a very fun place to go to a football game. But Falcons fans have been very vocal over the last couple of weeks that they are going to show up and show out. So there's a white flag giveaway, which I think is kind of a joke in some circles that they give away white flags at the Atlanta Falcons game. But the Falcons fans early in the season, and still is relatively early, they've been known to show up for these primetime games and kind of show out. So we'll see what happens, but expecting a pretty good environment come Monday night.
And Mike, just out of curiosity, because Atlanta feels like one of those, you mentioned it, one of those transient cities that it's easy to get in and out of. We look at Tampa as one of those markets, and certainly in LA there's lots of options, and you look at the NFL teams and where they rank in Los Angeles, it's not at the very top like it is in other markets. How would you rank the popularity of the pro and college teams that you have there in the area? What are you guys spending the majority of your time talking about on your show?
Well, we obviously are the Falcons flagship station. We also have the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta United, which is our soccer team, is kind of a big deal around here. But, I mean, if we're not talking about the Falcons, we're probably talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, which Athens just, an hour and a half down the road. We talk a lot of SEC football. I'm an Alabama guy. Georgia and Auburn play this weekend. That's been a big topic. A lot of Florida Gators fans, things like that. But people are pretty passionate, and people tune into us for their Falcons content. You also got the Atlanta Braves just up the street, but, man, they stunk this year. So a lot of people kind of turned them off kind of early in the season. But it's, Braves have such a massive regional footprint. There's really not another big baseball team in the Southeast until you get to Florida. So that's obviously king along with college football. But the Falcons fans, they're pretty raucous. They kind of they're starting to climb in the rankings here recently with this new page they've turned with Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson.
Is Atlanta going to get a third crack at the NHL? Everything I read that there's a nice plan in place. Is there any buzz around that, Mike?
Dude, you know what's funny, and you guys will respect this, the plans that I've seen for the NHL team, and I know that y'all don't really understand where we're at, but I always try to put it on a clock. If you put Atlanta on a clock, I want you to go to 12 noon on the clock, and then I want you to add another clock on top of that and go to 12 noon on that one. That's how far out they're talking about putting an NHL team. I'm talking about like an hour from downtown Atlanta, out in the middle of nowhere in Forsyth County in Atlanta. They seem to think, and that's kind of the blueprint the Braves took, going to the north end of town to the more affluent suburbs of Atlanta, trying to get out of downtown. It worked for the Braves, but the NHL people around here are trying to take it to another level and get even further out. I don't know that they get another crack at it, but, man, we've been excited at the prospect of it. We missed the Thrashers, and, there's a lot of hockey fans around here, to be honest with you.
Did it just not work because of attendance? I mean, what was the deal with the Thrashers? I'm trying to remember their situation from the arena standpoint. Was it downtown and fans not going downtown, or was it a different situation or a similar situation to what you're describing here as being proposed?
Yeah, our downtown is different than most. We don't have a waterway here in Atlanta. Our downtown is different than most downtowns. A lot of downtowns are kind of on the water. I mean, you go to like the Nashville Predators in Bridgestone or Tampa or whatever it may be. So our downtown is a little bit different. You go to Midtown, and we have an area called Buckhead, which is kind of the more affluent parts. That's exactly what I'm talking about, why the Braves moved away from Turner Field down here. Just nobody wanted to go downtown. There's not really an easy way to get there for mass transit. And so if you're from the northern suburbs, like a lot of the hockey fans / baseball fans are around here, you don't really want to make the drive through Atlanta traffic to get downtown and get to those things. So a lot of the downtown are Atlanta Hawks fans, and Mercedes-Benz is right next to State Farm Arena down here. But it's just kind of hard to get to. And, if you're not just passionate about it, you won't go out of your way. So I think there is a contingent of hockey people here. And like you mentioned it, there's an opportunity to have it work, but they have to find the right situation, the right location to be able to really get that off the ground.
Mike, the last of the Bills' 4 Super Bowls, it was actually in the old Georgia Dome in Atlanta. The Bills actually had a lead in that game at the half against the Cowboys?
It sounds painful, man. I don't know that any Super Bowl has been as painful as the Falcons dealt with against New England almost 10 years ago, but that sounds like a pretty rough.
Oh, I'll see a one kick wide right on that, but I would imagine 28-3 has got to be brutal.
Yeah, okay. Can we stop picking scabs and let Mike let everybody know about your show, what they can check out in the Odyssey app here if they want to get more coverage leading up to Monday night?
Of course, man. Yeah, we're on the Odyssey app just like you guys at Sports Radio 92.9 The Game, and my show is morning from 6 to 9 a.m., but I'll also be live from Mercedes-Benz Stadium 2 hours prior to kickoff, which is an earlier than usual Monday night kickoff on Monday night. And then I do 2 hours of post-game as well that people can check out on that Odyssey app. So we're having a lot of fun.
Well, I would imagine there's going to be 1 or 2 members of Bill's Mafia you may meet coming up. But honestly, we're fun-loving people.
Now, what's the tailgate situation like there in Atlanta? How's the tailgating scene there at the stadium?
If there's any Bills fans coming, here's what I want to tell you. The tailgate situation has been less than stellar, but there is a battery of buildings being built around Mercedes-Benz Stadium right now. They're calling it Centennial Yards. They're trying to recreate a new downtown, and things have been taken to the next level here recently. So if you're a Bills fan and you're coming to town and you're excited about maybe crashing through some tables, you will find a home at a couple of different places. And there's a lot of construction, but, man, we love to have a good time down here around these Falcons primetime games.
Mike, great stuff. Appreciate you, and we'll be checking you out Monday night. Thanks for your time today.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll catch up soon.
There he is, Mike Johnson, on our Odyssey Sports sister station, Sports Radio 92.9. The Game in Atlanta, a little preview of Bills-Falcons coming up here on Monday night.
Yeah, as the Bills should win this game, right? Yes, the Bills have trouble with their run defense, but I'm just thinking if Josh Allen and the offense, if they do what they're supposed to be doing, they should be able to move the ball and put up points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. If the Bills get to 30 points, which offensively they typically do, they should win this game. If you can get 30 points against Atlanta's defense, you should win this game. Your defense should be able to hold Michael Penix and Atlanta to under 30 points. If that's the guideline, then yes, the Bills should absolutely win. If Penix and the Falcons score more than 30 points and you need a miraculous or a shootout game like you had against the Ravens. By the way, with each passing week, that I know that was a massive win for the Bills, right? Winning week 1 at home, coming from behind. But when you look at just how bad the Ravens defense is, that comeback feels less impressive.
Well, or did the Bills just take the Ravens' soul in that game, Danger?
Maybe. I don't know. That defense is really, really. I mean, you had PJ on with us yesterday saying they don't do anything right defensively. They can't do anything defensively. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They're talking about firing the coordinator. Everything's a mess. You don't want to get into a situation like that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you hold Atlanta to under 30 points and you win this game on Monday night.
I think that's what should happen. Unless we start turning the ball over again, once again. Mike John, he was good. You know who he sounded like? I heard Binkley in him.
Nah.
You didn't hear that?
Don't insult our guest. That's inaugural visit. We don't need to compare him to Jay Binkley. Is it? Wait, did Binkley have? Does he have his radar up?
No, he
listening?
didn't. No, did anybody hear that? Like just the inflection and the way he's laying things out.
Well, if the Falcons and the Bills game is as wild as it could be, maybe we have him on with us on Tuesday, and if he says fellas, then I'll be like, okay, maybe he is Binkley. Fellas, it was always going to be Penix. Fellas, it was always going to be Bijan Robinson. Good stuff from Mike Johnson. Appreciate him making time for us. And now we know a little bit more about this Falcons team that's hosting the Bills coming up here on Monday night. We'll get to more next on the Fan Rochester, including Andy Behrens, who's joining us next hour. Fantasy football talk with Andy Behrens from the Deep Shot as Week 6 in the NFL gets underway tonight on Prime. The Giants and the Eagles. It's not lost on me that Brian Daboll took a nice dig, a little mind game at Jalen Hurts by saying he's seeing A.J. Brown open a lot on film. I love that, Brian Daboll. Nice troll job. We'll get to that game, and we'll talk about the Week 6 schedule with Andy Behrens coming up here in just a few on the Fan Rochester.
Opening night for the Buffalo Sabres. The Rangers, the opponent. Our coverage will begin at 7. Starting goaltender for the Sabres tonight, Alex Lyon. The Buffalo Bills back at work today. Matt Milano and TJ Sanders, the only two not to practice. Limited today, Dorian Williams and Ed Oliver, amongst others. Head coach Sean McDermott on Falcons quarterback Michael Penix.
He's extremely detailed in how he runs their offense, and certainly has a great running game to accompany the talents and skills that he brings to the table. And overall, they seem to be very dialed into their offense and the details of their offense.
We'll talk some fantasy football later this hour. Andy Behrens from the Deep Shot will be joining us. 6 o'clock for Phillies Dodgers. 9 o'clock for Brewers Cubs tonight. LA and Milwaukee can both advance with wins. Gene Battaglia with the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
We are back on the Fan Rochester. Welcome into the sports bar. Pull up a stool at 866-4FAN, 866-4326, as we thank you for listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. You're also watching us live on our stream. YouTube channel is The Fan Rochester, on Twitch at The Fan Rochester as well. Gino, one of our regulars, in fact, our most regular of regulars, that would be Chris in South Central Kentucky, who's really like Barney from The Simpsons. Like if we were picturing the sports bar and we're Moe's.
Where he's good, we kick him out and then he's back.
You want to say, like, if we're Moe's from The Simpsons and you want to draw a visual, Chris in South Central Kentucky is our Barney. And he's constantly sending us his thoughts on the Bills and his thoughts on Western New York sports and culture. And he did say something. He sent us something on X at the Fan Rochester, by the way. You can find us on Elon's Twitter.
Chris is not Barney.
He's totally Barney.
Well, see, I love The Simpsons, and they did an episode, Barney growing up, where he's intellectual.
Yeah.
He's like everything, and all of a sudden he tries his first beer and becomes Barney. Yeah.
Fantastic. But he brought up a point, and I wanted to just kind of like run it by you quickly. The Bills right now at 4-1, and as we do after a tough loss, we kind of overreact, and we at times might think the sky is falling. The reality is, this is still a 4-1 football team, still a good football team.
This is a team that many of us thought, okay, they're going to win the division. You're not going 17-0. They're going to be losses along the way.
And we thought, honestly, like they could lose week 1 to Baltimore, and if they lose week 1 to Baltimore, where does that put them going to the bye? That would put them at 5-1. So if you win at 5-1, if you win on Monday and you're 5-1 going to your bye, we're actually right where we thought this team would be when the schedule came out. If you lose, if you're 4-2, do you have are you panicking a little bit? Because I don't think we were panicking. I think we were just kind of like exposing the warts on this team when they lost to New England.
As long as Josh Allen is your quarterback, I don't think panic is the right word. 4-2, hey, very easily happen. In fact, just play this out. The Patriots play the Saints. Ooh. And the Patriots, I forget who they have the following week.
The Patriots' schedule is easy.
We can get to a world, if the Bills lose this game against Atlanta, where the Buffalo Bills are not in first place by the time they play their next game, just by virtue of, hey, they had the bye. Sorry. And by the way, last year the Bills lost 2 straight games around this point, too. They lost in Baltimore really badly on a Sunday night, and then they followed it up with just kind of a you did this to yourself kind of feel
sloppy
down in Houston. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills lose this game. We know Atlanta has the ability. We just see that the Bills have never done it and put it all together in the regular season for the 1 seed. Last year said, hey, what needs to happen? Josh Allen has to be the MVP. Well, he did that. It didn't work. It wasn't enough. What needs to happen this year? 1 seed. That might not be enough either, but these are things that haven't happened for the Buffalo Bills. And statistically speaking, okay, Since they went to this new type of format, getting that first round bye means a heck of a lot. So that's what we're looking at, Chris. I think it's a good point that it's the NFL and weird things happen all the time, right? Are we writing the Chiefs off because they lost to Jacksonville? Are we going to that's the thing. Like, if they lose to the Lions on Sunday night, 2-4?
I don't think they're losing the Lions on Sunday night.
Well, that, as PJ pointed out, that line is smelly. Is it not? Like Lions and Chiefs, you're thinking, wow, the line's going in. The Lions are getting 2 points. Doesn't that look like a sucker bet to you? It's essentially a pick'em game.
Yeah, I don't feel good about the Lions on Sunday night.
No, like people that study this stuff for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a sucker bet to me.
I just think what you saw to the Chiefs on Monday night, you're Chris Jones loafing, right? Like, these are things that are just not characteristic of what that team is, and they're going back home, and I just don't think that's going to happen again. I think it was losing the way they lost to Trevor freaking Lawrence.
Oh,
it's eye-opening.
It wasn't a fat guy touchdown, but pretty close, right? Like a pick six from Mahomes. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You fired around, you lost in that game.
Yeah. What was the stat you were going to throw my way, Gino?
This is funny. So we spent a lot of time talking yesterday, and I still don't know if the Browns have announced who their number 2 quarterback. Never before we paid attention to, hey, is Shedeur actually going to be the backup this week? Who knows? So the Browns, to kind of review, they went to Dylan Gabriel. They traded Joe Flacco this week. They made other trades too. That all right, they're doing what they can. They look ahead, but also try to remain competitive. But I think this is hilarious. How many quarterbacks are the Cleveland Browns actually paying in the year 2020? Two-part question. Okay, part number, just give me the number. How many quarterbacks are the Browns paying, according to Spot Track, in 2025?
Ooh. I have a feeling Baker is somehow still involved here. Is Baker somehow still involved here?
He is not.
Oh.
We're going to have to go back that far.
Okay, all right. Whew. I'll go with 8.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
8 quarterbacks. Now the question is, can you name the 8 quarterbacks
all right,
that the Cleveland Browns are paying here? And remember, they don't have to be on the roster. This could have been settled and squared, but you still have to owe them something.
All right, let me see if I can do let me think. I'm not gonna get all 8, but I think I can come close. So Flacco,
1,
Gabriel,
2,
Shedeur.
3.
We know that not Drake May. Bailey Zappi is on the roster. We know that Snoop Huntley is on the roster.
No.
Snoop Huntley is not.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope, he's not one of them.
All right, let me get Deshaun Watson on there.
Deshaun Watson, that's number 1 on the board with $36.9 million they're paying this year.
God. Oh, God.
3 guys.
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett, yes. They're still paying Kenny Pickett $8,000 for being the backup. He's collecting a check while backing up with the Raiders.
Well, he's making more than $8,000 with the Raiders, but the Browns are still
paying him.
So when they say that the Browns are pitching in for a part of his salary to make that deal go away,
yeah.
What is that? That gets me to 6.
That gets you to 6. One guy they're paying $2.2 million. The other guy $171,000. Both guys still active very much in the league. Just backups on other teams.
Not with the Browns anymore. So let me go with Brissett.
Nope.
Wait, who was with the Browns? It wasn't Brissett.
Starter from last year.
For the Browns?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I blanking on who was starting games for the Browns last year?
Wildly entertaining game from last year. In prime time.
Yeah, it was against the Steelers, right?
No.
Oh.
It was against the Broncos.
Oh. Still don't remember.
Jameis.
Jameis. As soon as yes. Snowed. Jameis didn't know what to do with the snow. Yes.
So,
he was thanking God that he got to play in the snow.
2 pick sixes and everything. Like, what am I watching? Like, everything is either really great or horrible.
You were watching the Jameis Winston show.
That was a one, like, Giants, come on, just at least make this entertaining.
Wait, they're still paying Jameis?
$2.2 million.
They're still paying Jameis. God, what a poorly run organization.
The last guy, fun initials.
What? F-U?
DTR.
Oh, DTR, yeah. Dorian. What are they paying him?
$171,000 just to go away.
Yeah. And he's backing up where now?
He's backing up in Philadelphia.
That's right.
It's like and Deshaun Watson, $35 million. When he's healthy, that's not an if question. When he's healthy, you will see him back in Cleveland, and everybody's going to lose their mind. I cannot wait. Actually, I don't want to wish that on any Browns fan.
Do you think they will actually do it, though? Or do you think they've just already said, you know what, the backlash has been so severe, and every time this guy's name even gets mentioned, we don't talk about him, the football player. We talk about him, the sexual predator. We should probably just make this go away at a time when it's comfortable to make it go away.
Well, that's what they should do. I mean, are you saying that we've seen the last of this guy in the NFL?
Yeah. Because any team, the Browns included, that wants to put him on the field, I would love to tell you that Deshaun Watson, the football player, is going to return, and we're going to think, "Oh wow, what a great football!" But nobody's going to remember anything that guy did for the Browns on the football field, because all they are going to remember is how horrible he was off the field while he was a Texan.
Some of these stories you have to look at through the lens of who has the agenda. There's a similar story with this right now, a guy who is actually suspended by the league right now, being Justin Tucker. So I don't know if you saw this. This was a story from last week where there's practice footage from the University of Texas bubble where Justin Tucker is reenacting all these kicks. Like, here's the 64-yarder he kicked against the Lions. Here is this. And it's just practice video, and it's put out by the NFL Goombas, saying, the info guys, Justin Tucker, his representation has heard from multiple teams. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So the agent gives you this video.
Yeah.
And the agent, which team is actually saying we want to bring this guy in? I would just say, I would make the argument last year, Justin Tucker was one of the worst kickers in the league last year.
Sure. Yeah. So you could say, one, he's cooked, and two, he's not a great guy off the field.
So that's, what's the value there?
Right. There are stories, though, where redemption does happen. See, if we're going to stay with kickers, see the punt god, see Matt Araiza. I mean, kind of left for dead by the Buffalo Bills, and he's resurrected his career in Kansas City.
Yeah, that was one where, okay, this is not – the Bills made a value judgment not to wait for due process.
Yeah, and
they just wanted to move on.
I don't necessarily fault them for doing what they did. I mean, at the time, they probably thought – you know what? We wasted a draft pick, but we can find a punter. Well, they've had a hard time finding a punter this year, actually. But
you're not a fan of Mitch Wishnowsky? That's kind of like that.
Small body of work. We'll see. That's interesting, man. The Browns, God, we have to apologize, right? Like I'm a Browns fan. Oh God, I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm sorry. And to think they had Baker Mayfield. What did Baker Mayfield do that upset the Browns to the point where they moved off of Baker Mayfield?
He played hurt that year. Your team was in the Final Four of the AFC, and you lost at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
What
did he do? I got to know, what did he do that turned that franchise against him to the point where they thought Deshaun Watson was a better option?
Did the owner not like the commercials? Because those commercials went away pretty quick.
Did the owner not like the quarterback?
Had to be it.
Did the quarterback not want to be there and make his desires known? I don't know, man. That's tough. Because now you see Baker. And by the way, I don't think Baker has changed. I think Baker is Baker. He's been the same player through his NFL career. He's uncompromising. He's unwavering in his character. He's tough as hell. And you just see guys wanting to fight for that dude. He's fiery. He's a competitor. Yeah, he's got some size deficiencies, but man, he can play. Dude can play.
So what was it? Was it the antics in Cobb planting the flag at the 50-yard line?
I don't know, man. Yeah. But if you're an NFL team and you could take a mulligan and you're the Browns, that's got to be the one, right? Like, oh, if only. What would the NFL have looked like if Baker was still in Cleveland? if the Browns said, you know what, we have our franchise guy. It's Baker freaking Mayfield. We don't need to trade for Deshaun Watson. And will that go down as the worst trade in NFL history?
Hard to top.
Yeah. Although
did Houston really profit off of that? Did they parlay everything as they should?
Well, Houston's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty talented team.
Yeah, Stroud.
Pretty talented team. The hyperbole around the trade earlier this year that sent Micah Parsons to Green Bay. I mean, right now, looks like that Dallas might have won that deal, right? Parsons hasn't been as impactful, I think, as Green Bay expected. I think he's got some 4 tackles on the season.
Well, I don't think he's 100% healthy. I think that's also part of this, too. Remember when he was laying down in, in a preseason game? But
you knew that if you're Green Bay.
I think I use this in sales all the time. Suspend the judgment on that one. Let's just kind of wait to see how the season goes for Green Bay. You brought Parsons in to be that closer in the postseason. Do we have that closer in the postseason for Buffalo?
But I mean, think about what our reactions were when that trade happened, and how slanted we thought it was in favor of Green Bay. Green Bay is a Super Bowl contender now. Green Bay lost to the Browns against Cleveland.
You allowed 40 points to Dallas.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, you tied the Cowboys. Woo. I'm not going to talk anymore about Green Bay because we're confident in our survivor pick against Cincinnati. Green Bay at home against Cincinnati. That is your survivor week 6 pick.
Do you know how humiliating this is for me? I wanted to let the bit to die. You're like, nope, we're carrying on. Which you are winning. You made the call. You said wrong pick. You were going with the Lions last week. And then I see
normally I'm on your side, Gino. Normally your pick, I go with it. You said Arizona last week. I'm like, can't do that. Not with that little shrimp Kyler Murray behind center. Nope, don't trust it.
Gannon gets fined $100,000 for touching the running back after he did that. I find him $100,000 if he punches him, right?
And Jerry getting $250,000 fine for inadvertently. My favorite was Jerry saying, "Yeah, I meant to give the thumbs up." I mean, are we excusing that? At your advanced age, you can't tell the difference between a thumbs up and a middle finger.
Alien behavior.
You're right. And if you're really feeling gutsy as an owner and you want to upset a fan, go ahead and dump your drink on a fan because that'll only cost you, $300,000. Jerry had to pay $250,000, $300,000 what Tepper had to pay when he was fined for dumping a drink on a fan.
This happened to the Bills one time where they're playing the Titans. Do you remember Bud Adams?
Yeah, the double bird.
Double bird. He's just going around a few Bills fans.
Yeah, the double bird.
Come on, we want to see Terry do that, right? Wouldn't that be great?
Terry giving the bird, I could never imagine it. Could never be our owner. Let's get to Andy Behrens and talk fantasy football. Week 6 gets underway tonight from the Meadowlands with the Eagles taking on the Giants. Andy Behrens of the Deep Shot helps set your lineup next on the Fan Rochester.
And so it begins for the Buffalo Sabres tonight on home ice as the New York Rangers will be the opponent. We've got the call from Dan Dunleavy coming up at 7 here on the Fan Rochester. To the Bills, back at work today. Matt Milano, TJ Sanders, the only two do not practice. Ed Oliver, Dorian Williams were limited amongst others. Head coach Sean McDermott praising Falcons running back Bijan Robinson.
Very explosive, really good football player, and really hard to stop at the same time. So he looks like he's got a real bright future. He can do it in the run game, the pass game. He plays all downs, which is somewhat rare anymore, and we have a ton of respect for his game.
Thursday Night Football features the Giants and Eagles. Andy Behrens from the Deep Shot will join us next. 6 o'clock Eastern for Phillies Dodgers, 9 o'clock for Brewers Cubs. LA and Milwaukee can both advance with wins tonight. Gene Battaglia and the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
Gino, I don't want to eavesdrop on your conversation with our next guest, Andy Behrens from the Deep Shot. We'll talk some fantasy football, but I knew you were asking him, like, well, okay, what's the logic? Andy's in Chicago. What's the logic by Major League Baseball in starting the Dodgers game before the Cubs game? I'll tell you the logic. This is a massive win for East Coast dads. If you're a Phillies fan on the East Coast, you don't have to stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning to watch your team potentially force a Game 5, whereas in Chicago, it's the Brewers, it's Milwaukee. It's essentially a suburb of Chicago. Everybody in that central time zone, they all get to watch in the same time zone. So, East Coast dads get the rare W if you're a fan of the Phillies to watch the Dodgers and the Phillies first before the Cubs extend the series against Milwaukee later. Andy, welcome into the Sports Bar.
Okay, I'm only going to excuse that because you did correctly identify Milwaukee as a suburb, and not even a minor suburb of Chicago, not even one of the more significant suburbs. It's no Naperville, it's no Aurora, but it is, in fact, a suburb of Chicago. I'll give you that.
Wow. The two of you are just inviting bad karma. Stop. Stop. I don't want this. If you lose to Milwaukee, fine. Go ahead.
Have I ever told you how much Green Bay sucks? Have I ever told you, Gene, how much Green Bay sucks?
Yeah, and what has that done for you?
Okay, I'll upgrade it to it's a Schaumburg level suburb. It's a perfectly respectable suburb.
Andy, Danger and I were laughing at Brian Dable just with the little quip this week saying, oh, man, from what I'm seeing here, it just looks like A.J. Brown is really open here. This is like a recurring question, but at what point does this come to a head? Because A.J. Brown owners have to be like, okay, are we going to get the production? Are we going to see him on another team? Your thoughts here on, something that just quite isn't right here, the Philadelphia passing attack.
Well, it would be outrageous if they actually traded him. I have a difficult time imagining that. I mean, remember, A.J. Brown, before the season started, was kind of a hype man for this team and was talking up, the difficulty of repeating, and seemed all in on winning back-to-back these are Super Bowl champs. They're also, for all the sometimes reasonable criticism of Jalen Hurts as a passer, he has also authored two of the greatest individual Super Bowl performances in my very long lifetime. So, I don't want to talk about things that Jalen Hurts can't do because he seems to be able to do them on the absolute biggest stage with 1 billion people watching. But it is also true that week to week, he's not always pinpoint against zone defenses. He's thrown some pretty heinous balls to A.J. Brown this year, probably in the interest of force-feeding him. They don't have to operate that way. They can get a boring win against the Giants any number of ways. So it might not be great. I do just think that A.J. Brown is one of the best receivers of this generation, and there are 100-yard games out there, and there are 10-target games out there. And I know this isn't a satisfying answer, but I do think you need to leave him parked in your lineup and just wait for those games to come and recognize that, because of the nature of the team, there are also going to be some 35-yard performances.
We did have a trade this week that has some fantasy implications to it. Does Joe Flacco now quarterbacking the Bengals offense mean we see the production that we invested in with Brown and Chase and Higgins in that Cincinnati offense, Andy?
This is, I mean, it's a disappointing trade in some respects because I think the nation was crying out for a Jameis Winston to Cincinnati deal, which would solve a whole bunch of fantasy problems, right? Because Jameis is looking to go downfield. Jameis is looking at high yield targets. We're not so much interested in Jameis as like a real life quarterback necessarily, but man, he can deliver the fantasy goods in a way that Joe Flacco has not for a couple of years. I mean, if people weren't closely watching the Browns, I certainly forgive it, but he lost that job. That wasn't Dylan Gabriel is just absolutely surging. He's undeniable. Joe Flacco lost that job just as he lost the Colts job last year. He is at age 40, the most statue-like quarterback in the league, the most immobile quarterback in the league, and he is behind a pretty rickety offensive line. So that doesn't seem good to me. Like all that said, Cincinnati had to do something because Jake Browning played an almost hilariously bad game last week. And I was tweeting about this a little bit. Like Moose Johnston ran out of ways to criticize Jake Browning because every ball could have been intercepted. It wasn't the 3 interceptions he threw, which were all bad in their own way. It was that everything coming out of his hand could have been picked off. It was jarring. So I do understand that they did something. I even understand that they're just installing Joe Flacco at quarterback on a short timeline, which is probably hopeless. I don't know. I feel like Jamar Chase is going to just be Jamar Chase because he found a way last week. I do think this is a little bit problematic for T. Higgins, certainly I don't think it changes anything for Chase Brown. I don't think the ceiling of this offense is substantially higher, which is really what Brown needs.
Andy, if I could go back in time, I would have put in a higher bid on Rico Dotto last week, but we look forward, right? And I'm seeing today Chuba Hubbard not practicing. Was this real for us that didn't watch the Dolphins and Panthers last week? Because certainly looks like a tasty matchup for Carolina this week against Dallas.
Yeah, it's just a question of, when you say, is this real, which part do you mean? Do you mean Miami being really, really bad? Because Miami's defense is really, really poor. I mean, they don't tackle. They haven't tackled all year. They did not tackle Rico Dowdle. He's pretty good. He's a little bit limited. Like he can't really run away from anybody. There's not like a breakaway component necessarily with Rico Dowdle, and there are always plays where like you're just looking at it as if, oh man, what would Bucky Irving have done there? What would Bijan Robinson have done there? He's not that guy, but he's good. He's got good vision. He's a tough runner. And he's got like a revenge spot ahead against another very friendly defense, the Dallas Cowboys. So I fully expect Rico Dowdle to have another big game. Heck, I think he can have a big game even if Chuba Hubbard comes back and they split the workload, but we're not headed in that direction. I mean, it does sound like there's some seriousness with this cap issue. So I would expect it to be Rico Dowdle again, and that makes Rico Dowdle another top 15, top 12 fantasy running back.
Andy, the images of Ramondre Stevenson fumbling and then scoring 2 touchdowns against the Bills are still fresh in our mind. I want to get your take on New England's backfield because we know that Antonio Gibson is lost for the season, and that you would imagine could provide a little bit of clarity, and maybe it's a 2-headed backfield now with the rookie and Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, who still hasn't solved his fumbling problem. What's your play here with these 2 backs in New England's backfield because their schedule sets up real nice over the next few weeks?
Yeah, this is a great spot against the Saints. We certainly wouldn't expect, game flow to get away from the run at all. I wish I had real hope for the Travion Henderson managers. They obviously are not comfortable with Travion Henderson in pass protection, which is really unfortunate because he was supposed to be the one guy in this rookie class who was ready to pass protect at the NFL level. And very early in the season, he blew it. He blew a couple of assignments, had a couple of holding calls. It was really rough for him early. And for just a slightly different they don't trust either one of their running backs right now, right? Like they don't fully trust Ramondre because he's putting the ball on the ground, and they don't fully trust Travion Henderson because somebody's got to protect, the franchise quarterback. It's an issue. I've kind of joked about it a little bit, but it's not really a joke. I think this team is a candidate to add a running back via trade. I'm almost certain that Alvin Kamara is going to get dealt, and my fondest wish is for him to get dealt to the Chiefs. But now, like, the Chargers have emerged as a suitor, and I think the Patriots have emerged as a suitor too, because I think we were going to see a lot more Antonio Gibson before he got injured last week. Really too bad for him. So, yeah, there's a path for Travion Henderson here. I will also say that Henderson, as superhuman as he looked in the preseason, has actually looked pretty ordinary in the regular season. I think he's a very good player, but he's got some work to do, and he's still got, he's got to earn the trust of the coaching staff, and he's not there yet.
Yeah, well, you led me to the next question there, because the Chargers are playing in Miami, the aforementioned Dolphins, who can't tackle. Do you trust either one of these guys? Tell us a little bit your thoughts about Haskins and Vidal. Who should be the guy, if they're still sitting out there somehow, to go pick up on your waiver wire?
Yeah, so it's easy for me to say, I don't totally trust either of these guys. We don't know what the workload distribution will be. And Greg Roman, the Chargers OC, just today was talking about this very much as a tandem, very much as a shared backfield. He didn't say hot hand, but it feels kind of hot-handish. Neither one of these guys to this point in their NFL career has ever had the hot hand, by the way, just for the record. Haskins hasn't been great, but he was the direct backup to Amari in Hampton. He's the guy who's been active every week. He's the guy who took the first snaps when Hampton exited last week. Kamani Vidal was also the guy who was on the field when Trey Lance was on the field. So that's kind of where they've been in the hierarchy. I know there's a cult of Kamani Vidal out there that really loved him coming out of school, and I don't even mean to dismiss it. Like, he might be a thing. He's a versatile player. The college numbers were great, albeit in a small conference. So we'll see. I would expect it to be a split. The reason that you have to care about it, though, is the reason that we cared about Rico Dowdle last week. It's the Miami Dolphins. Again, they don't tackle. They're terrible against whatever you want to do, but they're particularly terrible against the run. So there is an opportunity here for both backs to find the end zone, for the Chargers running game to get right. Chargers are also missing some offensive line. They're missing their best offensive linemen. So that's an issue too. So I'm not rolling with, I think I have Haskins in one league, and I think maybe I have Vidal in like Scott Fishbowl, but I'm not over invested in this backfield. But I do understand playing either one of these guys as just a high variance flex option.
He is Andy Behrens, the Deep Shot. We'll let him tell you about his new site, his new endeavor here for fantasy football, and get you set for Week 6 in the NFL. And it was last week against those Chargers, Andy, that we saw the breakout game we've been waiting for from Bill Krosky. Bill Krosky with the 2 touchdowns. And now Bill Krosky on a national stage against a team that gives up the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs in the Chicago Bears, a team we're familiar with. Is this the week that Bill Krosky becomes a household name?
I feel like you're not talking about the hottest team in the NFL, the Chicago Bears, with all the respect that they have earned over these last 2 games, sir. This is I don't know which name will become the household name. I don't know if it's going to be Bill. I don't know if it's going to be Krosky Merritt. I don't know if it's going to be Jacory, but there is a very good chance of it. The one thing I will say about Bill is that he has not yet cleared, 50% of the snaps in any given week. And I don't think he's played 30 snaps in any given week. He just happened to touch the ball almost every time he was on the field last week. So we haven't escaped this being a committee. It is still a committee, even if it doesn't look that way necessarily in just the surface level box score numbers. In terms of actual playing time, there are still 3 guys who see the field. So we need that to clear up. That said, every time I checked in on the Chargers Washington game, he was breaking off a 12-yard gain. He looked great. The Chargers were very weird last week. Like, a lot of teams were really weird last week, and the Cardinals really kind of took the cake. But man, the Chargers should have had that game. It doesn't look like it from the final score, but like a fumble and then a roughing the punter kick when Ladd McConkey actually returned a punt for a touchdown. They got a roughing penalty, and it resulted in Washington points, and it flipped the whole game. And like, the Chargers weren't nearly as bad as the final score would indicate. It's just an absolutely weird game. But they let Bill walk into the end zone on defensive breakdowns a couple times. But he looked good regardless. And as you say, the Bears are giving up over 6 yards per rush attempt this year. So it is a great spot for him. And this is I think there's a very good chance that he becomes a household name in this matchup, as much to my dismay. But I don't think the Bears can really stop anybody right now. I do think he's the most talented player in that backfield.
The deep shot. We'll tell you more about that, where you can find Andy's work. Andy Barron's our guest here. One post-hype running back. And it's a fun matchup, right? Seattle going out to Jacksonville. Hey, Jacksonville, they get the Monday night win. I don't know if they're going to have a letdown or not, but what we're seeing out of Travis Etienne right now, I don't think anybody drafted him with the intention of having him as being one of the two guys you're starting in week out. Like your thoughts on Jacksonville in this matchup and what we've seen so far out of Etienne so far, Andy?
Yeah, Etienne has been legitimately great. He's been a very, very good player. And there was, we came into this season, there were different camps, right? Some people were on Tank Bigsby, some people were on the rookie Bashal Tutin. Other people were like, no, I think Travis Etienne's going to have at least that receiving role. Well, he's got the whole role. Travis Etienne has that job locked down, and Tutin is merely a rotational player. He looks really good, but he's just a rotational player right now. And Etienne has had some great plays, both as a receiver and a rusher. You can trust him. It is a difficult matchup. Seattle has been very good against the run. They've limited, they're holding opposing rushers under 4 yards per carry. I don't know if they've allowed a rushing touchdown yet. If they have, they've only allowed one. They've been pretty stingy. So it's not the best matchup, but he is the featured back there, and he has a share of that workload that not many running backs do across the league. So you can trust him. He's basically going to be parked inside the top 20, top 16. If it's a particularly difficult matchup, he might be something like RB 18, but for the most part, we're going to be trusting him as an RB1 or an RB2 rest of season.
Andy, if you're in a super flex league or if you're somebody who streams quarterbacks due to injury, are there a couple of names out there? And I'll throw Mac Jones onto the list to get you started, because we're hearing reports that while Brock Purdy isn't practicing still with the Niners, Mac Jones, who's been exceptional, may still be available. And what's your concern about that, his health going into that game here coming up this weekend?
So Mac Jones and the Niners were another one of the, they were one of those teams that took you out of survivor pools last week, right? Like I would have bet the house against the Niners facing the Rams. Everybody injured, everybody that we care about except Christian McCaffrey injured in that one, and then Mac Jones dials it back to whatever 2022, 2023. He's hooking up with Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne looks sensational. So, yes, you can absolutely trust Mac Jones right now. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury himself, but he's clearly gonna be at the controls for that team. He's obviously very comfortable, and if he can just get Jawan Jennings back, that's something. Jennings the way Kendrick Bourne played last week was as good as I've ever seen him. He was a yards after catch machine. I thought he was fantastic. So you can trust Mac Jones this week. Beyond Mac Jones, it's not great. I will say that Matthew Stafford has still been out there in a handful of leagues, which is pretty crazy. He entered the week available in about 40% of leagues across different platforms. And man, that guy's put together a sensational season. It feels like a lifetime ago that we were worried about his back injury, and now it's just 2 or 3 touchdowns a week, and Puka's going crazy. So Stafford is a very interesting player, certainly to build a DFS lineup around. And then we got to like Jackson Dart too, because he's got a little rushing upside. He goes tonight. I think Spencer Rattler's been pretty fun, and I was pretty dismissive of him early in the season because I didn't like anything I saw last year, but it hasn't been bad, and he hasn't been that loose with the football. He hasn't been turning it over like crazy. So last week's win was a nice start for him.
Last one for me, Andy, and when we ask you always about streaming defenses, you point to, hey, look for bad or quarterbacks you don't trust going against offenses that they've got to try to keep up with. I'm looking at the Rams maybe as a play. Are we ready to declare the Ravens as a bad team, Andy?
Oh, sure. Until Lamar is back, absolutely, we are declaring the Ravens as a bad team. It's the defense is just a sieve at every spot. There's a bunch of holograms out there, right? So I expect the Rams to put up a big number. And now we're talking about forcing either Cooper Rush or Tyler Huntley, whoever starts this week, into a situation which they probably have to put the ball in the air 35 times, 40 times. That is about as good as it gets. And the other defense that was really appealing, at least coming into the week, of course, was Green Bay, because they're coming off a bye. And now, they head into this matchup with Cincinnati, and it's Joe Flacco's first start with Cincinnati. We know we're going to pile up sacks because Flacco can't move and the line isn't great. We're probably going to get a couple of picks there too.
Andy Behrens, let everybody know about the deep shot, the work that you're doing with Dalton there on your new venture.
Yeah, it's me. It's Dalton Del Don. It's all the stuff you're used to from the Yahoo days, and some other goodies as well. We've got ranks up right now, waiver wire recommendations. Dalton has DFS recommendations and recaps up. It's been really fun. I hope people check it out. The ranks are always free, so if you just want to lean on it for ranks, I would just encourage you to visit the site. Also, I'm doing a little writing for The Athletic, so check that out.
All right. Congratulations.
All right.
Love hearing that,
Yeah.
Andy.
Perfect. Andy, thank you so much for your time today. Always appreciate it.
Fly the W, Andy. Let's go.
Let's go. Thanks, guys. Good luck, everyone.
Andy Behrens, the deep shot, joining us in the sports bar, giving us some fantasy football advice here with Week 6 getting underway tonight from the Meadowlands.
Can't wait for Brewers Cubs tonight as well. So.
Brewers Cubs tonight, lots of action. Sorry, Yankee fans, but there's life goes on. There's still a lot to look forward to in tonight's menu.
You have to look. You're like Met fans, Red Sox fans, like. Everybody's getting knocked out except for one. So have a seat next to us. I keep reading these things, people speculating about change for the Yankees, what's going to happen with the Yankees. Will Cashman be back? Will Boone be? They're the Cowboys.
Nothing's changing.
Nothing is changing with New York.
They're printing money. They're competitive. They're in the postseason. Nothing's changing.
There's nothing scandalous whatsoever.
Nope.
Aaron Boone will do what he's told. Brian Cashman will stay within the lines.
That's right.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Right.
In their eyes.
I don't know that I see any changes happening. I mean, is there a fall guy? Maybe there's a fall guy, somebody on the staff that, we made that change. But as far as like the major figureheads, no, they're all coming back. They're all coming back.
No, you'll find what you need to do this offseason. I hate to say this, but you need to find a shortstop, okay? That's step number one. Volpe was really bad down the stretch. You can rationalize, hey, if we do this and this and this, then we'll be back in the World Series next year.
What? Yeah, I mean, that is that's certainly a priority. And I'm sorry, Gino, I'm distracted. We have kids at the door. What? Pizza dude. There's kids at the door. We're just leaving the kids at the door? What do we? Oh. He's okay, all right, never mind. I'm sorry. I feel bad because I think we have guests or visitors to our studios, and they're just standing outside the door, and I'm like, well, is anyone going to let them in? Because there's people here that can let them in if we want to, actually let them in. I don't know.
But we can't let them in if you're on the phone.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what's happening.
Well, you know what? The call screener will get on that.
Yeah, we'll get our producer out there to see what exactly it is that they're looking for. But if they're stopping by to say hi, I mean, let's say hi. We appreciate that. We got happy hour on the way next on the Fan Rochester. We'll talk about last night's Yankees loss. What's next for the Bombers? What we got coming up here tonight? And by the way, if you see the Phillies somehow extend it to a Game 5, oh my God. Game 5 in Philadelphia, a jungle, an absolute jungle. Signing up for that.
Oh, what time would that game be? They'd have to put that on primetime Saturday.
No question.
Right? Yeah.
No question. So we got a lot to look forward to, including, yes, the Sabres do start their regular season campaign tonight. And yes, we will have the action for you here on the Fan Rochester. So we'll get you all squared away and ready for your action on a Thursday night. Happy hour on the way and plenty of time for your calls at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
The curtain goes up tonight for the Buffalo Sabres, the season to begin. The Rangers, the opponent. Our coverage on the Fan here will begin at 7 o'clock. Buffalo Bills back at work today. Matt Milano and TJ Sanders, the only two not to practice. Amongst those that were limited at Oliver and Dorian Williams. Head coach Sean McDermott on Falcons quarterback Michael Penix.
He's extremely detailed in how he runs their offense, and certainly has a great running game to accompany the talents and skills that he brings to the table. And overall, they seem to be very dialed into their offense and the details of their offense.
Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio will have the call Monday night here on The Fan. 6 o'clock coming up for Phillies Dodgers, 9 o'clock for Brewers Cubs. LA and Milwaukee can advance tonight with wins. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
It is happy hour in the sports bar, and we thank you for joining us at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, tune in. You can even watch the sports bar, our YouTube channel, where you can like and subscribe. Always know when we're going live when you click on that little bell for notifications. That's the Fan Rochester on YouTube. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Are we talking Bills? Are we talking baseball? Are we talking Sabres? What,
I mean,
what on the board?
This is the greatest month on the sports calendar. There's no question about it. There's just so much happening, including, yes, you mentioned it tonight, Game 1 for the Buffalo Sabres. The campaign begins.
Somehow I'm watching Giants-Eagles, but I'll flip over. I'm a company guy. I'll make sure, yes, listen tonight here on the Fan Rochester.
Mm-hmm. Let's give the full coverage here. I mean, the season approach for the Sabres, as said by their goaltender, starting tonight between the pipes. No, it's not UPL. No, it's not Devin Levi. No, it's Alex Lyon.
So the speed is going to increase. The intensity is going to increase. There's going to be a really good team coming in here that has some pretty serious players, and so we're going to be tested. And so sometimes I almost think it's better to act as if you're struggling. You know what I mean? Act as if things aren't going well. We need to be desperate right away, and we can't take 2, 3, 4 games to feel things out. And I just think that if we play with desperation for 82 games and full commitment, then you just see where the chips lie.
Yeah, I mean, I know what he's trying to say, but how long have you been in Buffalo?
I would say this too. Tage Thompson with a similar message here on how they want to start the season.
It's very important for us to get off to a good start. Obviously, point-wise, points are big, especially early in the season. You want to get off to a big start. But I think for us, playing the game the right way and not getting discouraged if the points don't come right away. Our mindset has to just be playing the game the way it needs to be played. And I think you do that, everything will fall into place.
That is true at every level of hockey. That is true what every coach is going to say when it comes to October. We have Mike Leone. The Amerks open up the season tomorrow night. How do you – okay, well, you're just looking at how you play. You're measuring against yourself. Hockey's the one sport like, hey, that's a weird bounce. You lost. I mean, honestly, like these are the same things you hear year after year.
And that concludes our Buffalo Sabres coverage for this afternoon in the sports bar. We wish them luck this season. They will kick it off tonight at KeyBank with the Rangers. Is it at KeyBank tonight? No,
it's still KeyBank.
It's KeyBank, right?
It's KeyBank, yeah.
Tonight, 7 o'clock. You can hear the game here on the Fan Rochester. Hey, look, they both said it, and I think everybody kind of understands. Like, Sabres need to get off to a hot start. If you want to get anybody interested in this product, you got to get off to a hot start. Give the fans something to chew on here. Give them something, because we've been torched so many times by this organization during this drought. Teased. Nah, just get off to a hot start, and then let's see what happens.
That concludes our Sabre talk.
I'm sorry, yes.
Let's switch to Rochester talk. If you don't have a team left in the baseball playoffs, and I'm talking specifically to Yankee fans, it's okay to root for Ernie Clement, the pride of Rochester. Danger. The guy, you cannot get him out. You know, they have a metric for, it's basically war for defense. He's number 1 in the majors. And part of that is because he's so versatile. Last night, hey, he's on second. Let's move him over to third. The Jays team is really scrappy. We underestimated them to the point where, like, bullpen game. We'll see you in Toronto on Friday. Nope. So sorry, the Yankees. I honestly thought that Judge Homer, the comeback from 6-1, was going to propel this team to great heights. That is such a disappointment.
Yeah. Disappointing outcome. They couldn't get over in a bullpen game. Bats got cold. Costly fielding mistakes. And, the Jays, through the course of the season, were the better team. And we knew that they were the better team. We just knew that they got a little cold with Bichette not in their lineup down the stretch. I want Major League Baseball. Like, is Major League Baseball secretly rooting for a specific outcome here in terms of what it does for their TV ratings? Because a Toronto-Milwaukee series would be,
I know from a TV rating standpoint, but for a Jays, like, what are we rooting for now?
A Seattle-Milwaukee World Series.
It's either Philly or L.A.
You need one of those two.
I'm not even counting your Cubbies. I'm sorry.
I'm not either.
But look, what I thought you were going to go with this. What are they rooting for? They're rooting for Saturday night. Shohei in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow, the Dodgers let these guys back in.
Hey, an East Coast dad gets a W tonight, okay? I mentioned it earlier with Andy. If you're an East Coast dad who happens to be a Phillies fan, you can hold your head high and know they moved this game for you. East Coast dads can watch the Phillies and the Dodgers because of this 6 o'clock first pitch from the West Coast.
The only thing I can think of, Danger, is that they are assuming this is going to go to 5 games. They want to give both teams the opportunity to travel and get out of there a little early and make sure that they're rested for Game 5, rather than if they put this game on at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock Eastern time tonight. All right, tomorrow is the travel day, but you're going back to the opposite coast. That's the only thing I can explain. Why would you put the Dodgers on it? If you live on the West Coast, if you're a fan of the Dodgers, you're pissed.
Are you? Because you're not really working anyways. You're just going to go to the ball game.
Oh, I guess, yeah, that is L.A.
It's California. It's L.A. Yeah, no, but anything about L.A. They just have a different lifestyle there. They live their life the way they live their life. Gee, and I just got to go to the Dodgers game. If it's at 3 in the afternoon, we'll go at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and if they get to a late, we'll just kind of leave in the 7th and make sure we get to dinner on time.
Yeah, we'll beat the traffic on the 405, and we'll get to dinner where we need to get to. And then, if we have to watch the game later, we'll see what else is on. Maybe we'll watch the game. We'll see. That's L.A., man. Meanwhile, in the Midwest, it doesn't matter. Cubs, Brewers, Central Time Zone. That's the only audience that's watching that matchup.
You two knuckleheads, you and Barons, say Milwaukee is a suburb of Chicago. Bart Winkler's coming on the show tomorrow. I dare you to say that. I'm going to go. Dan,
I'm not going to say anything. I can't say anything if the Cubs lose tonight. It's over. I can't say anything.
But if the Cubs win, Bart's going to be losing his mind.
Yes.
And then you play that clip of the two of you saying it's a suburb. Somebody said Rochester was a suburb of Buffalo. We'd be insulted. You don't do that.
We're the nicest suburb of Buffalo. The best suburb of Buffalo. You got suburbs of suburbs. We're a secondary market to a secondary market. And our suburbs are secondary suburbs to the secondary suburbs of Buffalo.
Buffalo is a suburb of Toronto. And
yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, if you live in Toronto, do you consider Buffalo a suburb? Buffalo's a suburb of Toronto. Oh, God. Yeah, so the divisional series continue tonight with 2 games and 2 opportunities for teams to advance, with the Dodgers and the Brewers both dropping last night, but can close it out tonight with wins.
Yeah. In the Bills news today, you had the wide receiver, Keon Coleman. Sean McDermott invited this in. All he had to say was basically, it was a coach's decision. No, he wanted everybody to know there was some sort of disciplinary issue, and I think we're all kind of moving past it, the talk here today.
Yeah, this is Sean McDermott earlier on his second-year wide receiver.
Our time right now at this point in terms of the response is small because, players haven't been – they've been here, but not for yesterday was a shorter day. So we'll see how practice goes today. He looked like he was, on his details this morning in terms of when I saw him and when I was around him. So, we'll just continue to, he's going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to do things the right way. And that's how things work. That's how you win, is when you do things the right way leading into games or whatever it is. You've got to have the good run up to the situation and the opportunity.
Okay.
We didn't normally Wednesday we would do McDermott McLies. We didn't do a Thursday edition of McDermott McLies.
He's talking about different players here. Do we have anything for McDermott?
Okay. I've got 25 seconds. McDermott talking about the Falcons' young talent. How thick is he going to lay it on?
Well, it's going to be thick, and I'm going to say if he's glowing about Bijan Robinson, I don't think that's a lie. I'm going to go with 3 lies in 25 seconds. Everyone play along, and if you're new to the show, McDermott McLies normally on a Wednesday, but because this is a Monday night game, the special Thursday edition.
They've got dynamic rushers and some young players up front, like you asked about, and they're still obviously learning and growing and coming into their own. But I'm sure they're excited about it. I mean, number 1 pick and some other guys there, and on the offensive side, some number of number 1 picks there too. So it's they're explosive, they're dynamic. Those are the guys that can grow into becoming difference makers, game changers, if they're not already.
Two. Talking in circles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We could almost alter the bit if we wanted to and just do a translation. I like a coach speak translator. We'll put it through the coach speak translator and really say what McDermott is trying to say without using all the words. They're young and they're good.
They're young and we're worried about Bijan, and the quarterback doesn't worry us.
My
God.
God.
Be like,
Right. Yeah, I think we can handle Penix, but Bijan might be a handful. The injury report. This was before practice, so Sean McDermott laying it out earlier today.
So Matt Milano and TJ Sanders will not practice today. Deion Dawkins, Dorian Williams, Ed Oliver, Curtis. Curtis will be full, but those other 3 will be limited, and we'll continue to take it one day at a time like we have. And then the IR guys the windows are not going to open up at this point in time. So I think that should get you everything you need.
What's going on with Deion?
Hand.
We had some video of Maxwell Hairston, I wouldn't say doing drills, but working out to the side. Not officially cleared to practice. His window is not open yet, but it's just encouraging seeing him out there kind of running around doing some drills, rehabbing from that knee injury sustained at training camp. So the game on Monday night, pregame gets underway here at 3 o'clock on the Fan. Rochester, no sports bar on Monday. Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day. It's the Sabres starting at noon, and then you've got the Bills pregame getting underway at 3.
It is happy hour. You're always welcome to join us at 866-4FAN, area code 585-866-4326. I feel like we have to put Chris through because you compared him to Barney.
It's Chris in South Central Kentucky. Yeah, he's the regular that's always in the sports bar. Like when you watch The Simpsons, Barney is always at Moe's. He's just always there. He's a presence there.
But you said like a meme, and like you think of the Barney memes, like Moe's going like this, and then
I don't think of Chris. I know Chris isn't like Chris is intelligent. He's not like a fall down drunk like Barney is. I'm just saying his presence is comparable to Barney at Moe's from The Simpsons.
Is Barney actually here, Danger?
Barney, is that you?
No.
Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
All right, there he is. What up, Chris? How are you, buddy?
Yeah, there are other presences in Moe's. There's Lenny, who is educated. He has a good job. He's competent at it, but not too competent to where he gets, promoted above everybody else. And he's thoughtful, very loyal to his friends. So I always thought of myself more as a Lenny personally. But, Barney is there for the comedic relief. And I think I try to provide a little bit more to the sports bar than that. But I just wanted to put that out there. But, I also was giving some thought as you were doing McDermott McLies. You need a separate counter for McDermott McCliches.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it could kind of go in with a coach speech and everything, but how many times do you hear him say, do your 111th, or, you just got to trust the process.
Yeah.
And so have a McDermott, McCliche, McCown or something like that.
It's pretty good, Chris. Yeah, he gave us one with that Keon Coleman clip when he said he's on his details. On his details is a good one. On his details is a good one. No one says that. No one says that except for a head coach in the NFL. He's on his details.
No, Chris, I'm sorry. Like, now I can't unhear it.
That he's Barney?
He's Barney.
Yeah. And Chris, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to insult you. We know who you are. You're a smart guy. You're loyal. You listen all the time. But I called you Barney because Barney is always in Moe's and you are always in the sports bar.
You don't want to be Lenny.
You self-glossed yourself as the greatest listener of all time. If you've glossed yourself as our number one regular, who is the number one regular at Moe's?
It's not Homer.
It's Barney.
You don't want to be a Lenny. Lenny is like, I know who you're talking about. He's the most invisible character in the history of that program.
He's talking about Lenny. I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. I don't even remember Lenny. I'm sure if I saw an episode, I'd be like, oh, that's Lenny. Okay,
that's
fine.
Lenny,
Yeah, no, you're Barney, and that's fine. And by the way, the bourbon that Chris brought us the last time, I've been enjoying it. It's been enjoyed frequently in the garage through the Major League Baseball postseason. It's fantastic. Chris in South Central Kentucky. Self-glossed, number one regular in the sports bar. Today, I've glossed him as Barney from The Simpsons. With no offense, no ill intention. And I don't mind that idea, going through the McDermott McCliches. McDermott's McCliches. Yeah, Keon Coleman's on his details today.
On his details.
He's on his details. Yeah. Great. That would be something that only head coaches in the NFL say. Week 6 gets underway in the NFL tonight. I love Brian Daboll just poking the bear. Just a dig yesterday leading into tonight's game. I don't know that the Giants are going to win, but Daboll just putting that little quote out into the ether.
You never hear anything like this from McDermott. So just out of nowhere, like, yeah, what I'm seeing on film, Brown's getting open.
As a guy that knows how much everybody in Philadelphia is gripping about that offensive performance, and Brown is the center of that, right? And Brown being open and Daboll pointing that out, does that get... Look, Hurts is a winner. Love Hurts. He's a winner. But do you get into his head a little bit as a thrower? As a thrower of the football, if you're Brian Daboll, have you just gotten into his head a little bit? Will that affect him in any way? Or will it piss him off and they absolutely eviscerate the Giants? I think it's going to be one-sided, but we'll see. It's a division game. It's in New York. Jersey, I should say. And it's on Prime tonight. So, again, October, being the greatest sports month on the calendar, no shortage of action tonight.
No, it's all good. Some breaking news in the sports bar.
Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
LeBron James out 3 to 4 weeks. Oh, who cares? Sciatica.
Is that a Francesa?
Oh, who cares?
LeBron just, you know what? I did this training camp stuff. I'm over it. Yeah, I'll just show up for the...
Did he even do training camp? Did he show up for training camp?
I assume, yeah. I think he's got to be around.
Was he a part of it? I mean, I'm asking genuinely. I really don't know.
It's going on right now.
Right.
So if they're saying 3 to 4 weeks, this would mean he's not available.
Sciatica that's a nerve that you have to deal with that in your back, I want to say.
It's like when you get old.
Look, it's really hard for me to respect and admire and love LeBron James if he's already injured this early in the season.
Listen, you can love me, and I know some of you hate me as well. But the one thing you will always do is respect me and appreciate the way I approach the game and what I've given to this game. Thank you.
So weird. So weird, dude. You will respect me. You will respect me. Who's disrespecting you, dude? At worst, you're the second best player of all time who's disrespecting you. And nobody's disrespecting you if you're injured. You're 53 years old and you're still playing in the NBA. You're going to get sciatica. I mean, the guy is thirsty. He's just weird.
I'm not ready for the NBA yet. You got preseason game. You got the Knicks on tonight taking on the Timberwolves if you want to check that out.
Okay.
Too, which, they're bumping that over to NBA TV tonight. So.
Okay. And we had an answer for what were the MLB going to do the other night when there was the delay in Detroit for Major League Baseball. There is an FS2.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think they also put it on MLB Network as well.
Okay.
But, yeah, we were worried that Major League Baseball didn't have an outlet to play a game that was delayed or play two games simultaneously. We knew about FS1. FS2 is a thing. I don't know that I have it on mine, but I know it is a thing in Major League Baseball Network as well.
So tonight for your Cubbies, if the Dodgers-Phillies goes long, which very possible, 3 hours, it can go longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go search it out there tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. Lots of action to get to. As we've mentioned, October the best month on the sports calendar. Let's get to a round of shots next, Gino.
Yeah, who's in goal tonight for the Sabres? Pop quiz, everybody. You have no idea. Okay. Oh, well, the good stuff here. Let's review the last 24 hours of North Carolina football.
Now we're talking.
Yes. And then Derek Jeter said something interesting last night. I don't think people picked up on. Those are some of the stories we're chasing.
And we didn't talk about Vlad's reaction after dispatching of the Yankees, but to see Jeter and A-Rod in the studio just kind of face palming as Vlad was giving them the Yankees lose in only a way that Vlad can. That was
see, somebody's got to explain to me. I get it now that Junior falls into camp. I will never play for the Yankees. But how did the Yankees disrespect his dad? I don't know that story.
Oh,
I know Ken Griffey Sr. was disrespected by George, and that's why Ken Griffey Jr. said, never. Yeah. And he always took it personally. So Vladdy Jr. took this series personally.
Yeah.
Got to dig a little on that.
All right. Well,
Somebody
hey, look,
explain
I mean, if you're being truthful, half of the baseball community probably hates the New York Yankees, right? They are polarizing. You're either a Yankee fan. If you're not a Yankee fan, I can tell you the Midwest hates the Yankees. Anybody that's a fan of any team from the Midwest hates the Yankees.
I experienced that firsthand. Like, I'm in Kansas City for the Mets. They don't care about the Mets, but then Juan Soto, boo,
hate the Yankees.
Like, wait a second, what? Why? Well, he was a Yankee.
I mean, the Twins fans that I know hate the Yankees, but they hate the Yankees because they can never beat the Yankees. I mean, they have an irrational hatred towards the Yankees, but it's mostly because they're just the rich New York team that can buy a championship, right? That's the stigma. I don't know that that's even the stigma anymore. They just
well, by that logic, go look at the other team on the other coast.
That's right.
They're playing tonight against Philadelphia.
Correct. All right, a round of shots on the way next. Last call as well. You can have the final word at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
Busy night in sports. It's opening night for the Buffalo Sabres. The curtain will drop on the Sabres tonight. Coverage will begin at 7 as the Rangers are the opponent to the Buffalo Bills. Back at work today, Matt Milano, TJ Sanders did not practice. Ed Oliver, Dorian Williams were limited. Head coach Sean McDermott on Falcons running back Bijan Robinson.
Very explosive, really good football player, and really hard to stop at the same time. So he looks like he's got a real bright future. He can do it in the run game, the pass game. He plays all downs, which is somewhat rare anymore, and we have a ton of respect for his game.
Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio have the call Monday night beginning here at 3 on the Fan. Phillies-Dodgers coming up at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock for Brewers-Cubs tonight. LA and Milwaukee can both advance with wins. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Happy hour continues. We've still got time for your calls. Last call coming up before we close up shop at 6. If you want to pull up a stool, as we say in the sports bar, 866-4FAN is our phone number, 866-4326.
Or you can write to us on X at the Fan Rochester, as John did. McDermott's sound clips should not be looked at through the truth window.
Ooh, a truth window?
What was the truth window? I remember that cut. Like, as we put this through the truth window.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's a memorable one. Truth window. Jesus. What is he talking
Why don't we
about?
just say, like, who talks like that? Hey, we're just being honest here.
On his details is a good one, though. He's used that one a lot. He's on his details. Nobody says that.
Nobody at all.
Unless you're an NFL head coach.
Does anybody know who the starting goaltender is tonight? I can only imagine, okay, the Sabres on. Wait, who's in goal? Is it Devin Levi? No, he's in Rochester. Is it UPL?
No.
Is it Ryan? It's Alex Lyon. Not to be confused with Alex the Lion from Madagascar. Alex Lyon played his college hockey at Yale Danger.
Good.
4 teams he played with, last in Detroit. 2 years, $3 million he signed for the Sabres. It was one of those, okay, just kind of a depth guy. And now this is the guy you kind of got to hang your hat on here in the opening weeks.
Sabres hockey tonight on the Fan Rochester starting at 7.
Yeah, but listen anyway. What do we make of this story here at North Carolina, where you had both the head coach and the AD, Bubba Cunningham? Anytime I could work in Bubba Cunningham sports bar, putting out statements saying that they're both committed.
The kiss of death.
Not great, Bob.
The story from The Guardian, and this was coming across as we were kind of wrapping up just yesterday, saying that there are coaches on the North Carolina staff, Danger, who are already lining up their next job. Some as soon as this postseason, because, well, when North Carolina season ends, if that team they're talking to is in the playoff, you can go join that team.
Wow.
You mentioned, would we see Belichick at Syracuse on October 31st? I'm not thinking we get that far.
My question is simple, because we were all excited. Oh, Belichick, North Carolina, coming to the Dome, Halloween. I don't think we're going to get the satisfaction. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's making it to Halloween. And you both put out joint statement. He put out a statement. The school put out a statement supporting each other. That's the kiss of death.
Not great, Bob.
I mean, there are people working behind the scenes right now trying to figure out, how do we get this guy out of here? How do we minimize this buyout? What will it take? What can we afford financially to get this guy out of here? He's done, cooked. And it just a stain on his legacy. A massive, massive stain on his legacy.
It's unparalleled. What would you compare something like this to?
So what do you compare it to? Do you compare it to Jordan playing for the Wizards and hanging on a little too long?
No, because I don't think he embarrassed.
He was still good, right?
Like he had a memorable game at Madison Square Garden as a Wizard.
Yeah.
Came in and, you can still do this. I'm Willie Mays, but that's before my time, like with the Mets. Apparently, like a Hall of Famer. What are you still doing out there at this point?
Right. Just hanging on too long to the point where it's clear you're not the same guy that we all thought you were?
I mean, you could say maybe a guy who was in movies and was the lead reporter on the sideline for NBC, and then you're eventually 25 years later, hey, you got juiced on YouTube.
Got it, Juice. When Chris and I broke up, the Juice was there for me every night. It's like he's not really the Juice anymore. We gotta get you dressed, Juice. Juice, a will? Juice. Come on, Juice. Juice! Juice, it's AC. Juice! AC's here! Juice, I heard Juice. It's on every channel. You know I feel the same, Juice. You're gonna tell them yourself, Juice. Juice, your whole family's here, Juice. She's on the house phone waiting to talk to you, Juice. Juice. Okay, Juice? Okay, Juice, we're good to go. You're home, Juice. You know Uncle Juice, and your Uncle Juice is a good man. He's never gonna stop being the Juice. It could explain a lot, Juice. Just hear him out, Juice. He's right, Juice. Listen, Juice. Juice, this is your life. Juice, please, Juice, we need an answer.
Boy, I'm going to tell you again, Gino, if you give me an opportunity to play every instance of David Schwimmer as Robert Kardashian in the People versus O.J. Simpson saying the word juice, I will take it.
I don't think Belichick is going to, at least, you know.
You don't think Belichick's what, going to kill somebody?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think murder is going to happen,
No.
although the visual of Bill Belichick in a white Ford Bronco on an LA expressway evading police is kind of funny. I would never wish that outcome on a family, but yeah, he didn't kill anybody. So his fall from grace is maybe not as severe.
No, I guess when we're saying that, nothing will top that.
That might be the greatest fall from grace
that is it.
of all time. That's on the Mount Rushmore of fall from graces for sure. But this one is up there. This is bad.
If you're a Yankee fan, I could forgive you for not watching the FS1 postgame show. Who cares what Derek Jeter has to say? But he had a quote, Danger. I want to run this by you here. Talking about Aaron Boone and suggesting that Aaron Boone will be back.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing controversial here, right? Well, listen to this quote. I know he, meaning Boone, takes a lot of heat. But look, I'm not saying it from any inside knowledge, but I'm pretty sure Aaron's not the one that's calling every move they make throughout the game.
Okay. So you got an analytics nerd.
Who's what? Telling this is the lineup you're setting.
You got some egghead.
Yeah.
You got some egghead in the box that's taken all the creativity and soul out of managing a baseball team and just giving him the probabilities. You're just playing the numbers. You're just playing the probabilities. He's managing, but he's not managing with any soul.
Well, that's where you got to be like, okay, you've got to really kind of have your finger on the pulse of what is actually going on. You use that as a factor. You'd be a fool not to.
Yes, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a tool. But that could be what Jeter is implying there, and I agree with him. He's not going anywhere. And by the way, managing with soul can bite you in the ass. Like he could also make a wrong decision, not lean on the analytics, and have it come back to haunt him, and that could cost him his job. He can't win either way. The guy, short of winning it all, he's always going to be kind of like viewed as the problem. And I don't think he's the problem.
Well, like you compare that to the end of the Knicks run, and that was fun. The Knicks fans are like, yeah, let's bring on next season.
Yeah,
what?
right.
They Ken Tibbs? What?
Yeah, yeah.
Why?
Right. Yeah. Is there anybody in the clubhouse saying Boone has to go?
No.
Right.
No, I did find it, if you're a Yankee fan, isn't it a little weird to see the bench coach for the Jays named Don Mattingly in Jays gear kind of celebrating? That had to hurt.
What stings more, Mattingly being the bench coach for the Jays or Vladdy's the Yankees lose over and by request? Poppy was just egging him on. He was just baiting him. Do it again. Do it again. And you've got Jeter and A-Rod with their hands in their head in their hands, face palming like they can't believe. And Vladdy was happy to oblige. Yankees lose.
You play like that, you can goof on John Sterling. No doubt about it.
God.
So Seattle opens up a 3-0 lead. How many runs did Detroit score unanswered in that game yesterday? Danger?
9
Yeah.
times.
We're going to get a Game 5. That's tomorrow night. You have the Aces on the mound. Tariq Schoolbull against George Kirby. Would it surprise you, though, to know that Detroit is actually favored on the money line at minus 145 in this game?
With Schoolbull on the mound, that does not surprise me.
Yeah.
I think that's all that is. That's
all it is.
Schoolbull on the mound.
8:08 tomorrow night on Fox. If we do have Game 5s in the National League on Saturday, it would be the Cubs in Milwaukee going at 4:30 in the afternoon. Dodgers in Philadelphia, 8 o'clock Saturday night. Shohei Ohtani on the mound, potentially.
Yes. Let's go.
Finally, we wish a speedy recovery to one of our favorites here in the sports bar, that being Danger Mike Francesa. Did you know Mike Francesa?
Did not.
Who cares?
Yeah, he couldn't watch the game last night. He had emergency surgery.
What happened?
This is gallbladder.
Oh,
who cares?
It's just gallbladder.
Gallbladder. Come
People
on.
get that taken out all the time.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? You can wait on that.
Who
Executive producer
cares?
waited weeks on that. The executive producer, we had a Disney trip planned, our first one. Like, you need your gallbladder. Can I wait till after the trip? Yep. Did Mike Francesa do that? No.
No. I mean, obviously, the executive producer is more gritty than Francesa.
Who cares?
I don't know what pain is associated with having to have your gallbladder removed. Is that just a stomach pain thing? Is it an acid thing?
No, it's gallstones.
Gallstones.
Gallstones that cannot be passed.
Yikes.
Yeah,
that's painful.
I get it. That's painful.
All right.
Who cares?
Well, hopefully he's on the mend.
Wait, you mean to tell me Mike Francesa has a diet that's not what it should be?
Right. How many Diet Cokes a day do you think that guy does? At least a 6-pack, right? At least,
yeah.
Waking up with a Diet Coke always, probably, I would imagine.
Who cares?
Yeah, he's you know what? Hope he's on the mend. And knock on wood, Gino, you and I, just a couple of models of health here with our dad bods, making sure that we take care of ourselves, never taking days off because we're sick, never taking days off because of our health. We're in good shape. Strapping, dare I say.
I say everything. It's football season right now, and the holidays are going to be right around the corner. And next year that'll be the year, Danger, that we're going to lose all this and take care of all that. Aces 90, Mercury 88, Game 4 coming up Friday night.
What are we talking about?
That would be the WNBA finals.
Oh, right. Okay, so they go 5 or 7?
They go best of 4, so best of 7.
Best of 7, so first to 4. Okay,
first to 4. I'm sorry.
So the Aces are sweeping 3-0.
Yeah,
they're sweeping. Okay, lots of suspense. We should be talking about that, except we'll probably have some kind of story about somebody saying something or complaining about the league or complaining about another player to talk about instead. Okay, I'll give them their due. The Aces and Wilson, like pretty good run that they got going on there in the WNBA.
I'm going to give you a quote, and it might surprise you because today there's a story about one NFL player. This was more from yesterday and the update today. I'm a bit more excited when you see light at the end of the tunnel for sure. Whatever my role is here, I'm thankful. I'm just happy to do that. Who said this today? Mike Danger. Which quarterback?
Joe Flacco.
No.
Oh.
Close.
Russ.
And we Shador.
Shador spoke?
Shador.
He didn't do a pantomime?
Said he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Whatever my role is here, I'm thankful. I'm just happy to do that. What? You mean you're acting like a professional?
He's lying. He's lying. He's not okay with it. He's lying. He's telling himself lies to cope. That's a complete cope quote right there. He is coping. I don't know. I mean, I still think if there's hesitation there with Sanders, it's the maturity. It's, do we really want this guy forward-facing to the media, forward-facing to the league? Do we really want this guy who's kind of immature to be that guy for our franchise? Meanwhile, they made that deal for Deshaun Watson. So who can say what the Browns are thinking, really? Who can say? Nobody really knows.
Oh, I got one other note. I think this is a sneaky good game, meaning, okay, the winner of this team or this game, if Jacksonville gets another one here. Seattle at Jacksonville this week.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a Mark Sanchez game. Well, Fox today announcing, no, Mark Sanchez won't be on with Chris Myers.
But that's like they're like, how many crews do they run at Fox? Like 5, 6?
Gotta be.
I think there's 6. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there are only 5 games on the Fox slate. So even though Sanchez wasn't listed for any of the games, he probably wouldn't have been anyways because he was already on the back end of the roster, which is very appropriate for Sanchez. Feels like that's where he's always been.
Doing my Chris Myers invitation.
That's the guy. What was his catchphrase? That deserves a wow.
Yeah.
Is that his thing that didn't really catch on?
I worked one day as a producer for Chris Myers.
Oh,
the man.
When you were an intern at ESPN.
ESPN, yep. He smokes Pall Malls.
Myers does,
or he did.
Pall Malls. Is that unfiltered? It's an unfiltered one.
That's
like my grandma's cigarette.
That's right. Yeah, that's the old man cigarette there.
He really wanted to get those pipes.
It's going to be Mark Schlereth in for Sanchez this week.
Stink is good.
He's good.
Stink
I
is good.
forget he's over at Fox. I don't think they use him enough over there.
Stink is good. We'll take a break and we'll come back with last call. You can have the final word in the sports bar. 866-4FAN is our phone number. 585-866-4326. It's last call in the sports bar. You can have the final word when you call us at 866-4326, 585-866-4FAN. So if Chris in South Central Kentucky is Barney from Moe's, what's John from Rochester?
What Simpsons character
Yeah,
is he?
yeah. In the sports bar. Which one is he?
Who is very positive. I want to say like Principal Skinner, but no, I don't know if that fits.
Is he he's not Flanders. Is he Flanders?
He's Flanders.
Is he Flanders?
Yeah, he's Flanders.
Hey, Flanders. How are you, neighbor?
Hey, guy.
Hey, diddly
Hey,
do.
guys.
How are you?
You know, I'm hoping they can run the table and all this will be forgotten. But you guys have talked about it. Drake May played out of his mind. And Steph Diggs, oh, my God. That was one of the best performances I've seen in a wide receiver in the NFL. And we still almost won. And, you know, it reminds me about, I think when Josh was a rookie or second-year guy, when they went to Minnesota, big underdogs, I think maybe by 16 points, and we beat the Vikings 27-6. That's kind of what they played out of their minds, New England did. And the other thing, I think it was 2 years ago when New England was really stunk, and we went to New England. We had a great team. We were on a run, and we lost.
Mm-hmm.
So on a last-second field goal. So I'm still pumped up, and I think we can run the table. What are your thoughts?
Oh, of course. Listen, Flanders, yeah.
Of course he thinks we can run the table. That's always optimistic John right there joining us. I think that I remember that game again in New England. I mean, you spotted them 10 points early. Josh was careless, lots of turnovers, interceptions. You lost the game.
Yeah, and Mac Jones drove on you at the end.
Right, and what happened on Sunday night? Josh was careless on a couple of plays. Red zone turnover, never good. That was when I knew they were going to lose the game. The red zone turnover, the red zone pick. I'm like, nope. Normally, when they're down, I'm like, they're still winning this game. Don't worry.
When Prater came out there to kick the tying field goal, I'm like, nope, this defense is not going to hold tight, and this is how it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, John.
Do they run the table, John? Of course not. There's
No.
another loss on the schedule, and hopefully it's not as soon as Monday night. But you know, it's the NFL. Strange things happen week in and week out. Week 6 gets underway tonight. You've got the Eagles traveling to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants at MetLife. Jackson Dart versus Jalen Hurts, who apparently isn't seeing a wide-open A.J. Brown, according to Brian Dable. So
tomorrow on the show, we will talk more Buffalo Bills with Damon Amendolara, the host of the Bill Maddock podcast. And also, you hear him late nights beginning at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. He's based in Wisconsin. Bart Winkler joins us tomorrow. What could go wrong? Like danger calling Milwaukee a suburb.
I mean, I'll be respectful of our guests. But if the Cubs win, yeah, I might throw Milwaukee as a great suburb of Chicago at Bart just to get a reaction. We'll see. I like Bart a lot. I don't want
to thank him for counsel. What else can you do?
Yeah,
here?
right. Also, since we have Bart in, we'll get his take on the Packers so far this year. Like the Packers who beat Detroit week 1. Last we saw of the Packers, they were tying the Dallas Cowboys on a Sunday night. Huh? So we'll get to that with one of our favorites, Bart Winkler from the Infinity Sports Network, who you hear on the Fan here late nights. He'll be stopping by tomorrow at 3:25, and then Damon Amendolara from the Bill Maddock podcast joins us to talk Buffalo Bills. That's coming up tomorrow at 4:25. Gino, I need a lifeline. Need to phone a friend.
You need to go out, have a good time tonight with the Goombas.
Yeah.
And we will do this all over again tomorrow.
You got it.
Oh, by the way, you forgot the lead. We've got Sabres hockey tonight.
Oh.
Woo! Yeah. Alex Lyon.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Sabres. Let's go. Sabres. Come on, Sabres. Got the stick. I'm poking. Do something.
Do something.
Do something. Do something.
Amerks tomorrow night.
Yes.
But in the meantime, Sabres tonight.
Yes. Before we get to the Sabres at 7, you've got a little bit of JR Sport Brief coming up next on the Fan Rochester. Have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow starting at 3.